a week. So to see it in one night is like, woof.
Morning, Javier. How are you?
Hey, look at that. Ooh.
Do you cut way back on days open, Javier, in your club when everybody leaves like this? I know we shrink down pretty good in the summer. We're open even less.
No. New York Jets. I had never seen that.
What I don't get on the first one is that they could have said it was a good goal, but it was goal. I guess they can't say it's goaltending interference. I guess that has to be challenged. But boy, they wasted a lot of time to get to that, didn't they?
Did you think that was goaltender interference?
He pushed the Montreal player into him. So by the letter of the law, yeah, it did. I thought they were going to call it. God, if we were just closed Mondays, I'd be so impressed with we're closed more than we're open, it seems like. Wow, congratulations, Brian. And I mean, I don't know who you root for, but boy, that's misery.
Although, God knows the cities do.
Because that's what they do, AJC. That's what they do. They win. Who cares if you blow a 5-spit lead in the seventh?
You say, and you overcame the Moulton jinx last night. You don't even know it.
Unbelievable. It is, isn't it, EV?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. On this hump day, let's get over it together. Hope your week is going well thus far. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting back into the groove. Learning about the pickup line at school again, and
okay.
Getting my parking spot. Although now there's a new pickup because she's the 8th graders at her school are already done. By the way, like at her school, it's K through 8, so the 8th graders graduate. They're done. She's got a week and a half left. 8th graders' last day was yesterday. So for the next week and a half, we have a new car line, getting them ready for next year because the 7th and 8th graders are picked up somewhere differently than the 6th graders. So first days today, I'm teeing it up. So mom is responsible. Grammy is responsible for a new pickup line. We may never see her or the daughter again.
Could just be home late for homework and dinner.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's okay. Just reheat it.
Exactly.
Either fire up the stove again or just 30 seconds in a microwave, and we'll keep it warm. Listen, I just want to let all Rays fans know a little behind the curtain with Miller and Moulton, away from the show, even behind the curtain. Rays fans, this is how good your baseball team is right now. You overcame the Moulton curse last night, and you don't even know it.
Holy cow. And I mean, you have no idea.
I mean, the whammy I put on you, and you don't even know it. So our first producer, John, and the three of us are still pretty tight. We've text chain amongst the three of us.
That's
And
been going on for years.
yeah. And we haven't done a show together in a decade. But we're pretty tight. Talk about just about anything. And we do a lot of joking around. Well, John's approaching mid-40s. So what happens as you get older? You get married, you get the mortgage, you get the kids, and then what ends up happening? Well, you end up slowly turning to baseball. You know why? Because you're home and you're watching TV. And for 6 months, you know what's on seemingly every night at night? Baseball.
Well, he's gotten so bad, he's gotten the package.
Right.
I mean, and this is stunning to me.
Oh, breathtaking.
Probably more to David, but to me, it's almost embarrassing that he's doing this.
Yes. Oh, no. We spent years already abusing him verbally, but now, okay, I guess you're a baseball fan. This is a guy who used to mock us we used to play clips of Vin Scully, and he used to tell us how bad he was. Okay, and now he's buying the baseball package. And we're getting texts at 9:00 out of nowhere in which he'd be like, hey, you know who's fun to watch? The Chicago White Sox and this Murakami guy. Wait, what? Who are you? Where's this coming from? So last night, he states the obvious. He's good at it. Always has been. We get a text out of nowhere in which he's making a declarative statement, like he's educating us. And Mark, he let us know what?
That the Braves are good.
Yes.
That was after he let us know that Wemby is good. I mean, these were the two brilliant sports takes he had last night.
Right. At the time, Wemby had 21 points, 11 rebounds in the first half. And the Braves are the best team in baseball, record-wise, right there. Best team in the National League, I think. And they're taking on the Cubs. It's an interesting series this time of year, midweek. It's a fun series. You can see them playing in the playoffs. Okay. Hey, guys, you know what? You know who's good? The Atlanta Braves. And so at that moment, I stick my chest out a little closer to home. Sorry, Huntsville. All right. I know you're Braves country. I stick my chest out and I go, hey, you know who's good? The Tampa Bay Rays. Like 4 exclamation points.
As they're giving up 5 in the 7th, and the game's now tied 5-5.
Right. Minute and a half later, they've blown a 5-0 lead. Mark goes, way to go, Moulton.
I'm like, other than that 5 spot they just gave up to get the game tied. But as I said in my post for the show this morning, very emphatically, the Rays win. They blow a lead, but they win because that's what they do.
They are never losing again.
I don't think so.
Ever. Same with the Braves. They're just going to meet in the World Series. Something's going to have to give.
147 and 15 each.
This is what, 16 of 18?
16 of 18.
They were like, what, 11 and 10 with no pitching when this whole thing started 3 weeks ago? Now they can't lose, and their pitching is the best in baseball. And of course, Mark, remember, we were all over it. Braves are going to struggle early. First 30, 40, 50 games because they got
all that pitching's hurt, David.
Yes.
All that pitching's hurt.
Yep. 4 starters on the IL. Don't know how, they're going to get off to a good start. Just hope they can play their way back into it.
143 runs against. Best in baseball.
Right.
Best in baseball.
Yes.
And I mean, there are a bunch of other teams that are damn good.
Yeah.
There are. I mean, the Yankees pitching's terrific. The Rays has been great. Believe it or not, Texas doesn't allow any runs, but the Brewers don't allow any runs. The Dodgers don't allow any runs. But the best team in baseball right now, the Atlanta Braves.
Best team in the American League, the Tampa Bay Rays.
Right.
Wow. Heady times. Got to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely, Rays fan. This is fun. And, as someone whose best season for the team he roots for started out with an unbelievable start, it gets everybody in. This sucks you in. When you're off to this kind of a start, a fan base can deal with a 500 month, if you know what I mean.
Yep. You're going to have a week coming up here, Mark, where they lose 4 out of 5, and you'll be like, yeah, it's all right. We can roll with this.
But with last night, there was no chance for anybody to go 500 in the American League. So we are still at 4. But the team right now that is closest to getting over the Mendoza line,
unbelievable,
are the Chicago White Sox.
Unbelievable.
Who are now in second place in that god-awful division. But they are a game beneath 500, as are the Mariners. So I just want to see it get to 5 with the White Sox being the 5th, just for you-know-what and giggles.
So you've spent most of your time in hockey. What's the craziest thing that you saw or heard a player do to try to snap out of a, goal-scoring slump, say?
Well, it was more of a team thing.
Gotcha.
And we were out as a team on the road, and things were not going well. And there was a girl who was, let's just say, a little big.
Okay.
And, well, the equipment manager, she had taken a liking to, and he was scared to death. And the players on the team looked at him and said, Josh, slump buster. You've got to take one for the team here.
Okay.
And he did, and it worked. All I'm saying is, Costner was famous for saying never blank with a winning streak.
Right.
There's nothing you won't do to get out of a losing streak.
So Cal Raleigh is 0 for 36 entering last night's game, and apparently showered in his uniform to try to break out of it. Eventually, the slump got to 0 for 38, but he had 3 hits last night. He literally hadn't had 3 hits this month.
Think about that. That's now 3 for 41. It's still under 100 over that stretch, and
Right.
he finally had a good night.
Right. But he showered in his uniform to try to snap out of it, and it worked. Don't you have to shower in your uniform like for the rest of the week?
Would seem logical to me, David. It really would.
Yeah. Got to do it, man. Hell, the team's going to want to watch. Team's going to be like, no. Get in there. Get in there. Come on.
Oh, they'll force them.
Right.
They will force them. Whoever the vet is with the most pull is going to be like, I don't know what to tell you, but you need to get your ass in the shower.
Back in.
Now.
Back in. You didn't wash your hair. Get back in. Come on.
So a gutty performance last night in Montreal evens the series, reminiscent basically of what Montreal did to Tampa a couple of times, in which Tampa seemingly outplayed the Habs, but the Habs came away with the victory. Buffalo does last night. Another overtime game in the series no one's watching. Wemby historic last night in a win by San Antonio. And you know who else is good, David? This Skeens guy, Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It was a goal, Puck, but I thought the interference was. I'm not surprised they called it. It was wild. It took forever, but I thought I thought both were right. I mean, the puck clearly was in his trapper over the line. And then when you watched it, the Buffalo player pushed the Montreal player into the tender. So, you know, I was okay with it. I really was. Well, that's what I wondered, but I don't know if but I don't know if they can, Puck. That's on me. But I don't know. I don't know if when they're doing the review, if they can say, yes, it was a goal, but it was goaltender interference. I'm not positive, but I think that then that had to go the way that it did. What they were checking was whether or not it was a goal. Would it have made more sense to do both at once? Sure. But I don't know if that's how that works. I'm going to plead ignorance there. I just don't know. So I apologize for that. And they never said, to my knowledge, what's the proper procedure there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Seth Everett will join us later on in the show. Christopher Powers will as well, as the PGA Championship gets underway tomorrow morning. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So it's well documented. You broadcast over 1,000 hockey games. You've been a hockey fan your whole life, from a preteen playing it to now in your mid-50s. You ever see a goal overturned twice?
Well, I mean, was it overturned twice? It wasn't a goal. Then it was a goal.
Right, so that's overturned once.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess because it wasn't a goal. I know what you're saying, but it was never a goal. I'm just semantics, I guess,
Okay.
David. So it wasn't a goal. Then
Right.
it was a goal.
After about, 8 minutes?
A long review. As long as a review as I've seen this playoff run. I won't say ever, because that's a long time. But this playoff run, I've watched a lot of hockey. There has not been a review in the area code of how long the original review was.
Right.
So now it's a goal.
Right.
And then Martin St. Louis says, well, wait a minute. There's interference. I'm challenging that goal. And then it wasn't a goal.
Right.
The only thing I don't know, and I plead ignorance and I apologize for that. I should and I don't. This is on me. I don't understand why the original review didn't say, yes, it was a goal, but there was goaltender interference, no goal. I'm guessing, and I'm just guessing, that the review was for one thing, whether it was a goal or wasn't a goal. And that's all they can review at that time. Then after it's called a goal, Montreal says, we're challenging that goal for goaltender interference.
Which is
very close. I mean, the Sabre player, to me, was close to the paint. He hit the Montreal player into the goaltender. I was fine with it, David.
Well, first off, I'm laughing. Well, no, okay. Brutally honest. I'm almost yelling. Now, this is the Buffalo-Montreal hockey series. My wife is looking at me like, what is wrong with you? These are not even your teams. And I turn and look at her and go, for 5 minutes, I've been listening to these guys say it's not a goal. It's obvious it's a goal. I don't know what they're looking at.
I didn't either, because you could see the puck in his trapper, and it's 6 inches behind the goal line. I mean, you can see where the glove is. It's way back there. It's a goal.
Right. So that's the first one. So I'm yelling at the television and to no one in particular. Okay. It's too early in the evening for this to be happening. And for goodness sakes, it's the Sabres and the Canadians. And I'm getting this worked up this early in the night. Then, okay, then they're going to do the interference thing. I got to admit, I thought it was once there's a challenge, I thought they could look at everything. So I'm with you. I'm like, wait a minute. Why does St. Louis get haven't they already looked at this? Wasn't this part of the 10, 12 minutes we just spent going to get a coffee? Wait, you didn't look at this? So it took you this long to just determine whether or not it was goal? I mean, Miller and Moulton needed 43 seconds.
It's funny, your wife, this is a tale of the tape here. I'm going to give edge to my wife, because as your wife's giving you a hard time for yelling at the TV, my wife was yelling at the ESPN referee, the Jackson there.
Oh.
And then he finally gave, and David, he actually, I think it's a goal. And I think it's a goal. Okay, that's your job, dude. Because very rarely has he disagreed with any call that's ever happened on the ice this postseason.
All right.
So
I'm going to be very cynical here. Very cynical. Because I know how it works with the quote-unquote in-booth official and the league. And at the very end of the review, they all get told what the review is going to be. If they ask for it, they can be told. So, Mark, I'm going to go out on a limb and be very cynical and say Dave Jackson found out at the last minute they're going to rule this a goal.
Okay, fair enough. But she was just impressed that he actually had an opinion on something, because she's watched a decent amount of the playoffs with me. And we've yearned for an opinion from him on anything. By the way, I'm not saying they weren't penalties in that game, but man, were there a lot of penalties called in that game. I mean, Buffalo was incredibly undisciplined. They ended up, I think, with 7. Montreal had 7 power plays at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous in a postseason game. I'm not saying they weren't penalties, but holy Toledo.
Oh, no. They were. They missed the one. Okay, the one the Canadians player pulled an SGA. Okay, I was actually waiting for one of the hockey guys to reference it. Remember when the Canadian guy, he actually stuck his leg out to trip the Sabre, and he trips over him, and they call the penalty on the Sabre to take a power play away. And the Sabre player was like, what are you talking about? He tried to trip me. They missed one call. That's it. But, oh, no, Buffalo was staggeringly undisciplined in such an important game.
Right. And they were outplayed last night, because early on, I don't remember the exact number, but the shot seemed to me that they were like 10-4 first period Buffalo. Buffalo came out of the gate hot and then did nothing for seemingly, 25, 30 minutes.
Well, and at the time before the 10, 12-minute delay there, shots on goal were 8-1, and Buffalo was nearly up 2-0. And since then, what do we go? A good hour and a half in which the ice was tilted.
I mean, they referenced it in the third, how long it went before Buffalo actually got a shot. Not on goal, a shot.
Right.
So, Buffalo stole one last night. They have not been the better team throughout this series, but it's 2-2 going back to Buffalo. And Lindy Ruff makes a goaltender change. And I don't know if that was a knock on Lyon as much as if it was to tell his team, this guy's played his tail off for you. Can you guys do something? And they did for about a period. And then Montreal controlled the game.
And then Buffalo got a break that if they end up winning this series, even if they don't go any further, they're going to have to come up with a name for the break that they got. Is it the Montreal bounce? I don't want to use miracle, but I mean, as bad a breaks as the Lightning got in Game 7 against Montreal, that's how bad and maybe worse the bounce was against the Canadiens in a game that they're in total control of, and they're leading 2-1, and Buffalo is literally dumping the puck in to make a line change, and the puck hits the glass, caroms along the glass, and then hits one of the dividers in the glass and comes out on a 90-degree right angle and gets behind the goaltender, who's back in his net. He didn't leave his net. He didn't go for a lounge or anything. I mean, it was, wow, was it a break?
Right. Aaron back to the goaltender and goes in. Wow. And Buffalo had nothing going on. Nothing.
No. They were hanging on for dear life. They killed a couple penalties to stay in the game, but nothing. And wow, what a break. And next thing you know, it's 2-2. And then they did come out in the third period and say, well, okay, if we're here, we might as well win it. And they played a good third.
For about 4 minutes. and then Montreal dominated. After that goal, Montreal went right back to what they were doing, and they dominated. But there isn't a Tampa fan out there that feels sorry for the Habitants, because that game reminded me of so many games in the Montreal-Tampa Bay series in which Tampa was dominating the shots on goal, and the Montreal goaltender just wasn't letting anything by him, and then Montreal would, go down the ice and score. So, hey, we got a series.
Yeah.
It's all we're looking for, David. We got a series going back to Buffalo, 2 apiece. Wembyama and the Spurs, well, they did at home what they were expected to do. They won and covered in a big way. We'll cover that and everything else you may have missed. The starting 5 next.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best,
Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, I don't turn computers off very often around here. And when they update on me, it throws my morning into a real tizzy. But all I know is I've got some new Windows thing on one of the computers. It threw me for a loop this morning. Where do I do that, Paula? I don't have time to look for that right now. But you're right. Will it still tell me that it's time for an update, Paula? Because I don't mind the computer updating. I think that's a good thing.
That was a heck of a stat that they had in that game. The kid who scored on his 21st birthday.
That's very true, Puck again. Let's see here. I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I got to remind myself. I may set a reminder. I'm not doing it right now. Too much pressure.
I set mine for right after the show. I just have to remember to keep everything on.
I don't have to worry about that because I don't ever shut anything off.
Ah.
I haven't shut a computer off unless I'm leaving when I was leaving Tampa. Boy, you are a rebel, Jay. 19 years working on Windows 1, huh? I do, Paula. I have spent decent money on very good surge protectors for that reason. That's hilarious, Jay. I like the fact I went with Rourke's because I just thought that made more sense with you on Windows 7.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes to the top of the hour. Seth Everett in a little more than an hour. Christopher Powers in our pro hour, our bonus hour. With Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Anything you want to get in beforehand, or?
Well, just quickly, I had to laugh when something that we talk about, I hear on a national show later, and I did actually clip it and send it to you. For some unknown reason yesterday, and I'm telling you, this is an unknown reason, but I flipped the TV on, later in the day, 4 or 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. And I'm a YouTube TV guy, so it just shows me what's on. And there didn't seem to be much on that I wanted to watch. But live from the PGA was on. I'm like, I'll watch a little golf, see what they're talking about. And it really wasn't worth watching. But they're interviewing somebody, and he says, well, let me ask you this. I'll give you the big three, Rory, Scheffler, Young, or the field. Where are you going? And I'm like, where have I heard that before? And it just kind of made me smile. The guy, like me, took the field for what it's worth.
And I took the big three.
One of them's hobbling. He can't even walk. He's got blisters on his toes, David.
We shall see. 20 minutes before the hour. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
And we'll start with the NFL. The schedule drops in 36 hours. CBS will get to announce their marquee game about an hour from now during their morning show. Yesterday, what did we learn? First Monday Night Football game is going to be Denver and Kansas City. We were not told officially where. My money's on Kansas City. We learned week 9, the Madrid game is going to be the Falcons hosting the Bengals. If you're thinking, when's the last time the Bengals played an international game? Well, good thing you asked. 2019. So that's pre-Joe Burrow. A little while. That's one of the 9 international games. We're aware of 3 of them now. The Madrid game, week 9. By the way, Mark, quick question. Who will start at quarterback for the Falcons week 9 in Madrid against Cincinnati? Penix or Tua?
Great question. I'm going to go Penix. Tua will already be in the concussion protocol.
One of the 9 international games, Madrid, week 9. Week 1, Niners, Rams in Australia. And week 3, Baltimore and Dallas in Rio. There was a site that posted what they believe the other 6 international games are. I just haven't seen anyone else post it, even though this site is usually really accurate. Not a mainstream site, but really accurate.
But I also believe that there's a Patriot insider that released the entire Patriot schedule yesterday.
Okay. There you go. One other NFL note, he played 13 years in the league through the 70s and the mid-80s. Charlie Young, a tight end with 4 teams. He appeared in a Super Bowl with the Rams. He won Super Bowl 16 with the Niners, their first one. He's also a member of the College Football Hall of Fame as a tight end for USC, and they won a natty when he was there in 72. Charlie Young, good player, died at the age of 75. NHL. Buffalo got outplayed, but they got a lucky bounce. Down 2-1 and clinging to life, killing one indisciplined penalty after another. And Tage Thompson banked in a goal off the side glass. It wasn't even a shot. It was a dump in for a line change. tied the game at 2. They got an early third period goal on the power play, and that really was the difference in the game. The Sabres killed off 6 of 7 penalties, and they scored twice in 4 power play chances. Buffalo 3-2 over Montreal. Series tied at 2. It was game 5 in Vegas. This has been a good series. I mean, outside of the fact both teams' uniforms suck. I mean, it's a bad-looking series, but it's an exciting, well-played series. Vegas, they got 2 goals, the first and the last one from Pavel Dorolev. He scored the game winner 4 minutes into overtime. Vegas 3-2 in overtime. They lead 3-2. Mark, this is eerily similar to the first round against Utah. They won game 5 at home in overtime and then went to Utah and wrapped it up in 6. Does Colorado wrap it up tonight? Game 5 at home against Minnesota. They're up 3-1 in the series. 8 Eastern, TNT. NBA. The Spurs just systematically pulled away from the T-Wolves, led by 4 after 1, by 12 at the half, by 18 after 3.
But I will say in the third quarter, the T-Wolves came back and tied it. I mean, they had a run. All of a sudden, it's a game again. And then the Spurs said, yeah, hold on here.
Exactly. Go home. Down 3-2, if you will. Spurs 126-97. Wemby with 27 points, 17 rebounds. What was the historic part of this night?
First half blocks or whatever it was, wasn't it?
Oh, is that it? 21-11 and don't know how many blocks he had, but dominant first half. He was angry. He might have even been hangry. Might have been hungry, too, for all we know. All right, game 5 in Detroit tonight. Cleveland's 0-5 on the road. Detroit's 5-1 at home. Detroit's a 3.5-point favorite again at home. 8 p.m. ESPN. Series tied at 2. Seems as if there's a lot of pressure on Detroit now to hold serve at home. We'll see. I mean, the Cavs at some point are going to have to win a road playoff game. They don't have home court against the Pistons. They don't have home court against the Knicks if they advance. So, and they need to win a road game to advance. Baseball. Rays blow a 5-0 lead in the 7th, score 2 in the 10th, and hold off the Jays 7-6. They've won 16 of 18. Yankees with 5 in the 3rd, snap a 4-game skid, beat the Orioles 6-2. Schwarber's homered in 5 straight games. Phillies beat the Red Sox 2-1. Grant Holmes and 3 relievers held the Cubs to 1 hit. Had to rally from a 2-1 deficit, but the Braves beat the Cubs 5-2. Bailey Ober with the shutout. 2 things, Mark, you don't normally see in a Major League Baseball game. A complete game shutout, and Byron Buxton stole home. You saw them both in the Twins' 3-0 win over the Marlins. The Mets called up one of their young hotshot prospects. Kid's played an hour and a half in AAA. He had a hit, 2 walks, scored 2 runs, drove in 2 runs. His name's A.J. Ewing. They need all the offense they can get.
A hit? He had a triple. That's not a hit. He had a triple, man. Come on, give the kid some credit. No one hits triples anymore. Kid's got speed to burn, and what's he do? He hits a triple.
Well, you make a good point. How many players in Major League history's first hit is a triple?
There are far more guys whose first hit was a home run, David.
Yes, there are, Mark. Mets pull away late, beat the Tigers 10-2. Angel Hernandez with a homer. Cleveland 3-2. Angel Martinez with a homer. Cleveland 3-2 over the Angels. I know it was 57 degrees at first pitch, but if you live in Pittsburgh, when Paul Skeens pitches at home, you got to get your butt to the stadium.
In fact, you could have just stayed for the first 2 innings, even though he did well beyond that, because he struck out the first 6 batters.
He took a no-no into the 7th. He threw 8 2-hit innings with 10 strikeouts. Pirates beat the Rockies 3-1. 13,500. Come on now. Come on. Penguin season's been over for 2 weeks. The draft 2 weeks ago. Come on.
I mean, are you that torn up on Sports Talk Radio about Aaron Rodgers talk? For
Come
crying
on.
out loud.
Paul Skeens now. Come on.
Are you telling him to leave?
Washington hit 6 home runs. Nats over the Reds 10-4.
They score, by the way. The Nats offense is outstanding.
They can't pitch worth a damn, but they are fun.
Right.
Yes, they are fun. The Chicago White Sox, the second place Chicago White Sox. Derek Hill with the game-winning pinch hit homer in the 8th. They're just a game below 500. They beat the Royals 6-5. Brewers have won 5 in a row, 6-4 over the Padres. You know, we jokingly said Giants are slumping. You know who they may need to face? Their arch rival. And I know everybody says they're the best team in the National League, and they are until proven otherwise. Well, the Giants have gone to L.A. the last 2 nights and beaten the tar out of the Dodgers. 6-2 the final. They roughed up Yamamoto. Cardinals beat the A's 6-4 thanks to 4 in the first. A's dangerously just a game now above 500 in the West. Still leading, but could the number could fall to 3, Mark, if the Cardinals win tonight. Seattle, they've beaten Houston 9 in a row. Cal Raleigh broke an 0-for-38 slump with 3 hits. He did so by showering in his uniform. Whatever works, man. Seattle 10-2 over the Astros. And the Rangers with 4 in the 5th beat Arizona 7-4. College football. All right, Mark. You get a vote. Okay, who do you want to be, Florida State or Georgia? Football.
Georgia.
Well, since the 2 schools canceled their home and home, they're trying to fit in a neutral site game in 2028. They got it narrowed down to 7 cities. Atlanta.
Seriously?
What?
Seriously? 7 cities?
Well,
Seems like it would be easier than that, but go on.
Well, 7 cities have bid for the game. So Atlanta, Charlotte, New Orleans, Nashville, and then 3 in Florida, Orlando, Tampa, Miami. So, you know, those are the 7.
Well, I like Tampa. It's closest to me. I'd go to that game, especially if I can get club seats.
PGA gets underway tomorrow. Rory cut his practice short yesterday to just 3 holes. Apparently he has a blister on his right pinky toe, and it's bothering him. So he took basically the practice round off. Tee times are out. Front 9 tomorrow. 154, Cam Young, Keegan Bradley, and Justin Thomas. 205 is Scheffler, Matt Fitzpatrick, Justin Rose. Meanwhile, off the back 9 and in the morning, you've got Rory, Spieth, and Rahm at 840. You got DeChambeau, Oberg, and Fowler at 818.
That's a fun threesome right there.
It is, but how about this one? Shoffley, Koepka, and Terrell Hatton at 829. So those 3 groups are all in a row between 818 and 840. They go off the back tomorrow. And one other golf note, Lou Graham won the 75 U.S. Open at Medina, passed away at the age of 88. And at 8 minutes before the hour mark, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories you needed to know here on Miller and Moulton.
Got me confused. You said the golfer, Lou Graham. I thought you were going to break into a Foreigner song there.
No, I thought that was you right now. I thought that poignant pause was you going, feels like the first time.
I have an old friend who literally thinks that's the worst band that's ever taken a tape. There's a show coming here, and I know they've got a singer that's replaced him, but it's Foreigner, or it's like Foghat and Nazareth. I'm like, what would be worse for you, Foreigner and Styx? And that's it. That's the one.
Well, your vote's Def Leppard, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm hot, sticky, sweet from my head, to my feet. That
Even worse than Bon Jovi, right? Def Leppard's your number one.
I mean, Bon Jovi, look at it. Bon Jovi was just the timing of it. Metal was good. Bon Jovi ruined metal because metal became pop. Not that he wasn't super. The band was amazing and they had great success and a lot of commercial success. But that's when metal changed. That's when metal became hair metal. He walked on the MTV Video Movie Awards with Richie Zambora, or the MTV Music Awards with Zambora, and they did Wanted with the acoustic version, which I mean, you got to take the good with the bad because he ruined metal, but without that, we don't have Unplugged. So you got to take the good with the bad. But no, Def Leppard, David, Def Leppard.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com.
This is Miller & Moulton.
Believe it or not, David, I've got lots of stuff today. If you don't, I got a couple of things here to do a couple of segments on.
Good.
College football.
Let me tell you, I have called so many people about this Nebraska story. Amanda's traveling all week. Matt Baker was part of 3 athletic writers who wrote on the story. He's at the ACC spring meetings. He won't do it. I have called 7, 8 people about the Nebraska story.
We've got a listener on that note, David, who's pounded me about different guests. I think he wants to be a guest booker for us, but he knows this guy, and I think we could actually get him. The guy's got about 15,000, 16,000 followers on YouTube. His name's David Waters, and he does Gators.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. All for it. Can I just do a quick musical interlude here for a moment?
Are you going to sing for us, Sammy?
No, come on now. Not only am I trying to keep listeners, I'm trying to keep my co-host. Was there a group that growing up you weren't exposed to, maybe because of where it was you lived, and then you started moving, just like I started moving, and then you started hearing more of a certain group's music, and you were like, wow, I wasn't really a fan of them, but I don't know, I kind of like them. They're growing on me.
Not really. I mean, different times in my life. I mean, as I never lived out west, but I was exposed to I had a neighbor who was into more R&B stuff. So there are songs that he was playing that nobody else listened to. I had an uncle that was into rock. Which got me into rock very early. So
can I ask you though, growing up in Michigan, were you exposed to a lot of Southern rock? Because I didn't get any in the North.
Not until college. Until college. I got into the Allman Brothers in college.
Like I didn't get into Tom Petty. Like I didn't. You asked me before I moved to Florida about Tom Petty, I'd be like, meh. I don't even know if I would have gone to see him in concert for free.
He had so many hits in the 80s. And you got to remember, too, I'm an MTV kid. Tom Petty had great videos. Videos. The one I would say probably, there's one band that I didn't listen to at all really as a kid. I knew one song. And now that I listen to, I got a buddy that actually loves them. It's Little Feat. That would be a band that I never really gave the time of day to. Is Little Feat.
Okay.
I don't know where the 120th ranked player will finish. I have no idea. But thank you for the question, Johnny O. Where do you think he'll finish? That's a better question because you brought it up because whatever we said, you were going to tell us we were wrong. So where do you think he's going to finish?
Make the cut, yes or no, sir.
Give us your expertise. Is he top 10? Is he top 25? Is he making the cut? Saw Brindamore. They had a thing with Brindamore mic'd up.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he grabbed the Sparty there. Way to represent. I thought that was pretty good. I like that.
He was trying to give Tocchet his props, and you could tell Tocchet already had that beer on his mind. He's like, I get out of here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Hey, thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X, Seth Everett in an hour, Christopher Powers to talk a little PGA Championship and the world of golf in 2 hours here on Miller and Moulton.
So, David, the SEC coaches are doing a lot of interviews right now.
Yes.
And even though I've not heard from the new coach at Ole Miss, they're making more headlines than any other school. And not for the right reasons.
I got to admit, I'm with you. Pete Golding, right? Didn't he get promoted?
Right. Yes. Good call. I'm glad you got the name because I don't know if I'd have been able to pull that right now.
It's so funny. You're going down this road. I literally asked a buddy of mine last night, has Pete Golding done anything to anyone? He goes, oh, I don't know why. And then, okay, here's why.
Right. So Steve Sarkisian's doing an interview. Let's start. Lane Kiffin's doing an interview.
Oh, here we go.
And apparently the interview is going to be in Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
Now, just think of where we are in college football today. The coach, who's, was maybe a little disgraced, bounced around, finally found his spot at Ole Miss, and then left to go to LSU. I mean, was recruited as hard as anyone. Had his pick, Florida, LSU. What job do you want? He took LSU. And he's a very good-looking man. He's got a beautiful wife. He has great-looking children. So from a family standpoint, I do get the Vanity Fair article. There's a lot of different directions you can go in for a guy like Lane Kiffin.
Well, isn't he reconciling with his ex? Isn't that who he's getting back together with like 5 years after they divorced?
Right, I think you're right.
Because he's sobered up now, different man, blah, blah, blah.
The good-looking daughter that dated the player. I mean, the good-looking family. Good-looking. A lot of posts that, maybe he did find God. I don't know. Those posts get me from time.
Right.
Because I do follow him on X, and I just get a kick out of his motivation in the morning. But I like Lane. Full disclosure, I like Lane. Even with all of his warts, I like him. I like a coach that, whether he's telling the truth or not, he's giving us something all the time.
And he's flawed. He's a flawed human being. And so Miller and Moulton we're in.
Yes. But he's doing this interview with Vanity Fair in which he speaks about recruiting in Baton Rouge.
Right.
And he says how much easier it is because there are certain households that you would go into and the kid would say, I like you, I like your program, but my parents are not going to let me go to school in Oxford, Mississippi. And he's saying what we all kind of know. I mean, Ole Miss Rebels. I mean, old Southern money, that they may be or have a little history of racism. And that's what he basically said. Without saying it, he basically said he goes into those same households now that he's at LSU, and the parents are like, LSU, very diverse, would love my kid to go to school. Baton Rouge, and I don't know what the percentage is, but Baton Rouge is a lot of African Americans in Baton Rouge.
Uh-huh.
Versus Oxford, where I don't know what the percentage is, and I don't know how many of them are allowed on campus. But I think you get my point.
Yeah, and probably the most racist of the SEC schools was quote-unquote Ole Miss.
Yes.
Right.
And they weren't going to quit being the rebels.
No.
There was a time that when we were losing the Fighting Sioux and we were losing all, the St. John's Redmen and the Syracuse Orangemen and all of these names went away. People were raising their hand going, they're the Ole Miss Rebels. And Ole Miss collectively put both middle fingers up to the world and said, you can go kiss my ass.
Right.
Ain't happening.
You can demote us all the way to the Sun Belt Conference. We ain't changing this.
They went Charlton Heston on them. I mean, flat out. That's what they did.
Yep.
So there's the first part. That comes out Tuesday, or comes out, I think the article came out yesterday. So
what's he doing? What's he doing? I love him. What's he doing? What's he doing? Why?
But he said there was a lot more to the article. He immediately said, look, I love my time there, blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's the first part. Then Sarkisian does an article or an interview in which he says about the transfer portal that you lose 50% of your credit hours if you go to the University of Texas. Hey, you want to come here, that's great. But if you want to graduate, it's going to take a little bit of work. Not like Ole Miss, they'll take everyone, and you can take basket weaving and get a degree.
Right. He went basket weaving.
To which Summerall, the new coach at Florida, had a brilliant line. He took the article or the post of On3 that had the basket weaving in big letters. I mean, they made it into a picture as, the clip of the article, and it says in big, bold letters, basket weaving. And then it has part of the quote from Sarkeesian there. He reposts it and says, so proud to be at a top 10 academic school in the United States, something along those lines, where we at least have advanced basket weaving. That now, even Coach Spurrier had to smile when he saw that.
I'll bet you Spurrier turned to his buddies and he said, I think we got ourselves a coach. He gets it. That's how you handle something like that.
That right there. That I am not a Gator hater, but I'm not a big Gator fan. And I love Spurrier, but I loved Spurrier.
Love him.
Okay, don't get me wrong.
Miss him so much.
Fun and gun. I mean, come on. It was wonderful.
Everything about him.
I liked Bowden more than I liked Spurrier. So, I mean, I just, full disclosure. But you had me at basket weaving, Coach. I'm on board. I'm now rooting for you.
Totally.
I was indifferent. If you were great, that's awesome. Better for our show if the Florida Gators are good. We're out in 5 markets in Florida. David and I are weird. We want all 3 of the schools to be good. We want UCF to be good. I now root for South Florida. I do.
Yep. We want them all 5 colleges at the major Division I level. But we want the Bucks, Dolphins, Jags. Okay. I want them all to win.
Well,
not both of us. Now, there's some, but Mark's like,
and I'd prefer them to do what they're doing now.
Right. Mark's got certain, but between the 2 of us, we have at least one of us rooting for every major team in the state.
But the colleges, we're all in. There's not a football program we don't want to see win. But Mr. Summerall, let me tell you something, Coach.
Well done, sir.
Advanced basket weaving, that's well played, sir.
Well done.
That's well played. That's what I'm talking. That's what I need in May. Okay.
Right.
I prefer it in late June, early July when things get really boring, but I'll take it in May, Coach.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the January through April talking about how soft Florida's been and trash in the weight room and spending $800,000 on a new one. I appreciate that. I do, because I agree with you from afar. But this is how it's done.
Yeah,
okay.
we can sink our teeth into that. Miller and Moulton aren't getting on the squat rack and doing a damn thing. Okay.
Yeah, this ain't Sunbelt Summerall. Okay, we can stop any of that talk right now. Okay, this guy's
you jumped into the SEC with that comment.
That's right. This is Power 4 Summerall right here. There we go. SEC Summerall. Let's go. It's basket weaving.
So well played.
Well played, sir.
They're starting. I mean, it's May. Some interviews are going on, and we're getting some juicy stuff. And here's the best part. Fans don't forget. If Ole Miss, and I don't have their schedule in front of me, but if they were to play Texas and win, I would hope the students would throw baskets on the field. I'll be weaving baskets in the stands before the game. I love this stuff. It's what the SEC has that the Big Ten has always lacked.
Well, they've already got LSU at home this year, and it's going to be at night on ESPN. They've already announced it's a primetime game. LSU at Ole Miss. But, Mark, if you're Ole Miss, don't you have to bring, if it's even a road game, don't you have to bring like a couple hundred baskets? Don't you have to use them as props every time you score? Run the risk of a penalty?
Well, I think, the fraternity guys at Ole Miss, they all wear the ties, and that's an SEC thing to the game. And the women all dress very nicely, the sorority girls. I think the sorority girls could add a basket to their outfit very easily and make it seem like Easter Sunday. But advanced basket weaving in Gainesville, basket weaving for a degree in Oxford, easier to recruit. I will say Sarkeesian with this transfer thing made it sound like it's actually impossible to get a degree from Texas if you transfer there. I do think his comments, if I were the parent, and look, we know they're not transferring for an education reason. They're not. They're transferring for more money and a chance to play in the NFL. I'm not a moron. But I would say if Sarkisian's coming to recruit my kid to transfer, I'd be like, well, how's he ever going to graduate from there? Be the first question you said. I mean, how long is he going to have to be at Texas to graduate? He's losing half his credits. Why would he go there? How much more are you going to pay us for him to get a degree?
By the way, Ole Miss is at Texas this year. Host LSU and at Texas. Does Ole Miss make a playoff the rest of the decade? 4 seasons left in the decade. They just made a playoff, just missed a playoff, and just made a playoff and won a game. Ole Miss, 4 more chances at the playoff. How many do they make?
David, if we go 16, no. If we go 24 by the end of the decade, they're going to make 1.
Okay.
I do think they're one of those schools that would greatly benefit from the 8 extra bids. Not every year, but that makes them in play a hell of a lot more for the postseason.
Yeah, SEC coaches like Petitti's proposal more than Sankey's. I think Summerall's already on record as saying 24 is where we need to go.
Speaking of money, I'll tell you how much it costs to put a good lineup together next.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Faro and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Faro and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Faro and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So I don't know if we'll bring it up on air because I don't know if David has the same site I did. But your Eagles, by the way, for you two lifelong Eagles fan, I know Empire's in there. According to what I have, are going to be taking on Jacksonville week 5 in London. The Colts and Commanders week 4 in London. And the Texans and Jags, which we already knew those two were going to play one another, that's week 6 in London. The Paris game is Pittsburgh at New Orleans. They did win double digits games last year, Empire. Easy win? Pump the brakes. The Steelers at the Saints, week 7 in Paris. David gave you the Madrid game. The Patriots take on the home Lions in Munich, Germany. I say home Lions because St. Brown's mother. It does not have start times. I would imagine so, Javier, but it does not have start times for the London, Paris, Spain, or Munich games. None of these do. And then the Mexico City game. Now, right now, they have that as November 22nd. Somehow, I think it's going to be November 23rd, and David will be there. Is the Vikings and San Francisco. I could see that being a Monday night game. Well, first off, Jacksonville's been doing this forever, so we know that's happening. They've gone from 8 home games to 9 home games, Joseph. If you notice, all of the home teams, with the exception of the Jags, are NFC teams. And I think it's their year for 9. So that's how they get around it. I totally, Jotharian, I think completely. And when they go to 18, for sure. When they go to 18, everybody's going to be playing an international game. You can book it. Yeah, 9 internationals. %100% no, Left Twix, but I do think he'll play.
You going Ohio State here?
Yep. Yep, I think it is. Clark, I agree. He had a very, you're a Chiefs fan. I don't think he's going to be 100% week 1. There are people that don't think he's going to play till week 4.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Seth Everett, 40 minutes time. Christopher Powers at the top of our pro hour, our bonus hour, 9 a.m. Eastern, talking PGA Championship, which gets underway around this time tomorrow.
So a little less than 21 million is what the House committee deemed colleges could spend on sports, right? It's like $21 million, right?
Is that the CSC, the College Sports Commission?
Yeah, I thought that was the number. It's like 21 million.
Right.
That'll get you started.
Well, and that's for all your teams too.
Right. So let's just say you're taking, 75% of that for football.
Right.
So you're taking 15 million for football. Do you know what that gets you at Ohio State? Apparently one side of the ball. Just for starters. Okay? That's not anybody on your bench. That's not the recruits that are coming in. That's not keeping backups. That's your starting lineup on offense for Ohio State.
Oh, offense.
According to College Front Office, they released the Buckeye depth chart yesterday. And the Buckeyes roster valuation, and I'll let you, I'm gonna go slowly so you can take an idea. You can play Card Sharks or whatever other game show you want in your head. But their roster, their total roster, which is 72 players apparently that are getting paid by the Buckeyes, they're getting $43.48 million.
You do know pretty soon we're going to have a trivia question. Who has a higher payroll? And it's going to be, pick a top 5 college program or the Marlins, right?
Oh, gosh. Great call.
I mean, we're not there yet, but by the end of the decade, okay, I think we're going to be there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, hell, the NHL cap's only 95. It's not going to be too long before a college football team's roster is going to be what the NHL's spending on an entire team. I know it's more players in college football, but one league is essentially professional. David, there are only 2 players of the starting 22 that are making less than $300,000 on the Buckeyes starting 22. Would you care to guess the positions that are valued the least at the collegiate level? One on each side of the ball. I'll give you a clue. There's one on offense, one on defense, making less than $300,000.
Well, I have to admit, I'm surprised it's that low. I'm surprised any starter at Ohio State is making less than $300,000. Tight end?
That's the offensive side. Well done, you. Nate Roberts is expected to make $280,000 this year to play tight end for the Buckeyes.
Strong safety.
Incorrect, David. The strong safety is actually doing pretty well. Jalen McClain's making a little over $710,000. It's your weak side linebacker, Riley Pettijohn, who's making $262,000, the lowest paid player of the starters at Ohio State. Now, most of you would think quarterback would be your highest paid player. Remember, they got a receiver who's been getting recruited by everybody since he walked on campus at Ohio State and appeared to be a superstar that literally could have gone to the NFL after his freshman year in college. And there's not an NFL person that didn't think that. This isn't an opinion of Miller and Moulton. That's a fact.
Remember, the one Ohio State receiver just went 4th in the draft, and he was the number 2 wide receiver on the team by a wide margin. Yeah, this kid didn't even need to play last year. I don't even know what he's playing this year for. But tell me what it's for, Mark.
I can tell you what he's playing for. $5 million.
Damn.
A college wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, and he may be one of the highest paid. I don't know what Arch is getting. I don't know what other quarterbacks that were getting recruited, but I can't imagine there are many players making more than Jeremiah Smith this year. Julian Sain, who's going to go first round next year, at least at this point, he is predicted to be a first-round draft pick at the quarterback position. He is making $2.8 million.
Mm-hmm.
The left tackle, Austin Streefeld, is making a little less than 1.2 million on the right tackle. The lowest paid lineman is the right guard, who's making $715,000 plus. Defensive line, a couple of millionaires. Kenyatta Jackson Jr., edge rusher, 1.5. Defensive tackle, James Smith, a cool mill. No one's making $1 million in the defensive backfield. The free safety's your cheapest guy at $409,000. And Bo Jackson, the running back, is making $561,000. I mean, $500,000. That's better money than you make in the NFL as a rookie. Not really, but you get the point.
Right.
Depends when you're drafted, David. It depends when you're drafted. But the Buckeyes, for their starting lineup, are paying about $23 million. They spent $30 million to retain their players. They spent $7.5 million in the portal, and they spent $6 million on recruits. Again, the total roster valuation of the 2026 Buckeyes is $43.5 million.
It was the Michigan coach who, 3 weeks ago, said, in 2 years, you're going to need $50 million to field a college football team. And Ohio State said, we may need that next year. Although they'll lose their quarterback and their wide receiver. So,
by the way, for the record, according to college front office, now they broke it down by position. Ohio State does not rank first in college football. According to this, they are third. Texas, $48 million basically for their football team.
Huh.
Don't worry, Canes fans. You're still spending it because you're second at $44 million. To round out the top 10 for you, so it's Texas, Miami, Ohio State. Lane got the bag, so did his players. They're fourth. Oregon, fifth. Notre Dame, sixth. Remember, we told you, once the Irish could start doing it legally, they weren't going to hurt for cash.
No.
A&M, seventh. Alabama, 8. Tennessee, 9. And Texas Tech is 10. Only Big 12 schools. So mostly SEC, 1 independent, 1 ACC, 1 Big 12. Ole Miss, Georgia, 11 and 12, respectively. Michigan, 15. Florida, 17. So to say there's a little bit of money in college football would be a vast understatement.
And once again, schools are not going to be able to keep coming up with this kind of money. So they're going to need more revenue. Mark, any ideas how to generate more revenue?
It's really simple. Petiti's right. 1, you go to 24. 2, you collectively bargain your TV rights.
Yep.
This is where Petiti's telling Sankey, I don't give a damn. You really want 16 for a little while, I'll give you 16. Let me negotiate the TV on behalf of college football. Do you know how much money we could get? You're dealing with one network. I'm dealing with 3. Who's making more? Greg?
I used to negotiate for CBS. Pete Bavacqua at Notre Dame used to negotiate for NBC. Could you let us do this? You cost yourself money by leaving CBS, okay? Please, let us do this. You saved college football in the pandemic. Let us take it from here.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
All right. You guys probably won't have a sense of humor on this, but I don't care right now. This is a joke for David, and he's going to laugh. Who fell asleep more, the president or Felipe? On the job, that is. I mean, because if you haven't seen it now and you believe that he's winking, then you and I, well, we're on different sides of this, or blinking, rather. It's a hell of a long blink. That's all I'm saying.
I will say, because Felipe was in our public view 5 times a week. He fell asleep at least twice a week on average. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
I think Felipe close,
Okay.
but Trump, longer term.
Right.
So, early lead Felipe, but, big fella's catching up.
So this guy, and he works in D.C., David. I probably already have lost it on X because I didn't go nuts with. I could find it again, but he basically wrote an article about, and he's a South Florida grad, and he's getting crushed, but he's basically like, South Florida's got it far more together than Pitt, BC, Wake Forest, Georgia Tech. And some Georgia Tech, he made the case too. Georgia Tech's a better fit for the Big Ten than North Carolina, but North Carolina is everybody's darling. You could plant your flag right in the middle of SEC country. But he writes this article about South Florida, and he is a South Florida, that they're poised when expansion comes. And it's interesting. I mean, because talking about the stadium and all the things, but I'm looking at this now. Stanford spends the least on their football team. I was surprised to see how much Pitt and BC and those, because they're all right around 20 million. Clemson's only 29.8. But it just was an interesting take on South Florida because he made a case for the ACC and the Big 12. If you had your choice and you were South Florida, I'd go ACC because I think it would save you money travel-wise. I just think the Big Ten travel is...
It would. Plus, you could play Florida State, Miami.
And UCF would kind of have to play you now if you wanted it. If you're in a big boy conference, that's their Power 4 rivalry game. That's their Clemson, South Carolina.
Yes.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until Seth Everett will join us here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark, I'm requesting a waiver. Normally, we reserve the first hour of the show for the baseball hour. We actually talked a lot of hockey and everything that went on in the Buffalo-Montreal game and series last night in our quote-unquote baseball hour. I'd like to make 2 baseball points now, if I may.
I suppose.
Okay, I'll take it. First off, we've talked about this now for about a week and a half. We are loving the Rays, winners of 16 of 18, but they are overworking the bullpen. Interesting scenario last night. Cash takes Shane McClanahan out at 80 pitches. Now, remember, first start of the year. I know he's coming back from 2 years of injuries. I know they're being cautious. But first couple starts of the year, the pitch count was 75. Now, here we are 7 weeks later. He's got a 1-hit shutout through 5. 80 pitches. You can't send them out. Now, listen, they didn't score in the 6th. They ended up scoring their 5 runs in the 7th, but it was against the same reliever that they brought in the 6th. They tried to extend him for 2 innings. I'm just wondering, when does Cash have to start trying to get 10 extra pitches out of his starters?
No, it's a great point because in theory, David, he goes 1 more inning. That reliever only has to pitch the 7th, and then you can move on. Because in sending McClanahan only out for 5, because the game goes extras, they end up using 5 relief pitchers last night.
So just a thought, 16 of 18, loving everything that's going on, but they are overworking the bullpen. They're being very cautious with some of their starters. It's just tough. I'm one of those, if he's healthy enough to throw 80, he can throw 90. Unless he just came to him and said, I'm gassed, I don't have it tonight. I doubt that he did. McClanahan's a pit bull, actually. So I just thought last night was an opportunity. 1-hit shutout through 5. We couldn't send him out there to start the 6th, even though the guy starts soft tossing in the bullpen. That's all. Just throwing that out there. Secondly, Mark, I didn't mention this in the starting 5 because I thought it was worthy of a segment. And maybe it's not worthy of a whole segment, but Mark, December 1st is when the deal between Major League Baseball and the players expires.
Right.
They had an official labor negotiation meeting yesterday.
First one. And it wasn't labor negotiations a little strong. It was an initial meeting where apparently, from what I read, David, and correct me if I'm wrong, both sides kind of went in and gave their state of the sport address. Here's where the union thinks we are. Here's where the MLB thinks they are. By the way, MLB had it on. They played a road game. Little things that you pay attention to in negotiation. MLB, and it was only a couple blocks down the road, but went to the MLB PA's offices for the meeting. There were a handful of players in there. apparently a bunch of Tigers, because the Tigers are in New York playing the Mets, and like 4 or 5 of them said, yeah, I'll go over. And most of them, when asked, said, look, I've never been to one of these before. They both said their piece, and it was about 2 hours long. But we would have been, David, you and I would have done this months ago, because we've only been talking about this for 2 years. But yeah, they started negotiating. They started talking yesterday.
Right. And no official proposals, but apparently both sides outlined their vision for the sport going forward. Sport right now is enjoying a huge rating surge and terrific attendance, except in Pittsburgh when Skeens pitches.
And Miami when they play.
Right. But anyway, listen, we've been saying for 2 years at least that we are not going to have baseball for a good chunk, if not all of 2027. I at least give both sides credit for meeting on May 12th. I really do. I thought they were going to meet for the first time on November 12th, with December 1st being the deadline. I'm impressed. I do think it's interesting, Mark, very quickly. So you're Major League Baseball. You're Manfred. I'm this Meyer guy who's in charge now of the Players Association. He also was their chief negotiator.
Yeah, the guy who's in charge was going to be negotiating, despite what's his face?
Right, Clark there.
Yeah, Tony Clark.
Right. So you say to me, we envision a cap. And when we look at you and go, never, literally never, ever, ever. My question to you is, quietly, when you go back to your owners, how much time are you going to waste on this? I mean, seriously. I mean, because I can tell you right now, the answer in September and October and November is going to be never, ever, ever. So I'm just wondering, when do you go to plan B? Because the players ain't doing a cap. So I'm just curious. And just, that's it. That's the key. You know, this is nice. I'm glad they did it. I hope they do a little more. There's a lot of things to nail down in a labor agreement. They've got about 23 things they got to do. We all know what the big one is, but they can get a lot done by talking in May, June, July, and August. They really can. But when they go to talk about the big one, Mark, you're going to talk about a cap, and I'm just going to wait till you're done and go, Mark, never, ever, ever.
No, I got you. And this is going to be, Manfred wants this.
Yes.
Badly.
And it's his last negotiation. He was planning on retiring in about 2.5 years.
So does he draw his line in the sand and won't cross it to put baseball in a spot where, yeah, it can recover, but how long will it take? The fan has never had more to watch than we have right now, the sports fan. If you're a diehard baseball fan, remember, you're going to come back to baseball. David and I are diehard NHL fans. David got pissed and took off a half a season. He's the only one that missed out on that half a season. No one else did.
Right.
Okay? But if you're a sports fan, which we think a lot of you are, we know football's first for the majority of you. But if you're like David and I and love it all, there's never been more to watch. I've had a bunch of people, whether it's in the chat room or on the text line, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, say, yeah, I'll start getting into baseball when the NHL playoffs are over or when the NBA playoffs are over. Then I'll pick up my baseball. Now, that's June.
Right, mid-June. Yep.
Football's only 6 weeks away. You can, and by the way, football's going to start earlier, David. You and I both know it.
Well, especially college football, they're going to have games in the standings that are going to be counting. If all those people that are picking up baseball, basically Father's Day after the U.S. Open, you got 2 months till games count in the standings.
Right. I mean, my birthday, which is August 23rd, never used to be part of the college football season. That's going to be week 1 pretty soon, David.
Yes, it is.
That's going to be week 1.
You can sit down with your daughter going, well, honey, let me tell you things that have changed in my lifetime versus yours. But,
the Derby's still on your birthday, honey, but college football's now on mine.
Right. It used to be 2 weeks from mine, but that's a whole other story.
Right.
I'm going to throw one little caveat in here. Mark, who's our president?
Donald Trump, last time I checked.
Mark, as a president who's into sports on a scale of 1 to 10, what number would you give him?
Oh, he goes to 11. I mean, he loves sports. He does.
Privately, apparently, Major League Baseball has already been told, listen, you do another lockout, and this lingers into early 2027, expect a call from the White House. Because remember, spring training is going to be affected. That's Florida and Arizona. Okay. Where's home base for the president?
That would be Florida.
His chief of staff's from south of Jacksonville. Okay. He seems to be making up with DeSantis. Okay. Just saying. Let me throw one other thing out there. Anybody paying attention to Mark Teixeira? Former Major League first baseman, won a World Series with the Yankees, switch hitter, good player. Wasn't the most popular guy on his teams, I will say that, but a good player, very good player even. Mark Teixeira won the Republican primary for a district in Texas. Yeah, he's going to Congress. Mark Teixeira was an active member of the Major League Baseball Players Association. Active. Okay. So if you've got a president who's already indicated to Major League Baseball, this lockout idea, I'm not a big fan of. And if you got a member of Congress who truly knows what the hell goes on both sides of an issue like this and was a union rep, and he wants to start heading or being the loudest voice on a committee that wants to get involved and shut down the lockout, I'm just throwing that out there. If you're Major League Baseball, listen, if you're going to lock out on December 1st,
their antitrust exemption, that would be, that's the power play card that I think you're hinting around, David.
Well, that's what the president can certainly hint around. Okay. And say, do you really want to make me go here? Okay. Do I think it will affect a decision on December 1st? No. But if we start getting into March, I'm just telling you, you heard it here first. Washington, D.C. is going to get involved in March of 2027 if this thing is as, salary cap versus no way in hell. I'm just saying. Throwing that out there.
So a little raise, a little big picture baseball. But yes, I was surprised, David, when all of a sudden I read that the union in Major League Baseball got together yesterday. I took that as a huge positive for the sport. Now, if they don't meet again until the end of June, it doesn't mean bubkas. But if this is the start of regular talks where they can look at, we know what the big issue is, and that ain't going to get ironed out overnight. But if they can get the rest of the crap done, then maybe, just maybe, Miller and Moulton will be wrong. There are no two people who would like to be wrong more about predicting a lockout than the two that have been speaking about it the loudest for the last probably 2 years. But Manfred wants a cap. And
20 owners do too.
The problem is the other 12 don't. And that is where we've, while they did meet yesterday, I still don't believe that the owners are on the same page. And that is where our argument has been from day one, is not that the players and owners are that far apart, which they are. The bigger problem has been and will continue to be how the owners are on different sides of the fence when it comes to what they want, because they don't all want the same thing.
Magic number's 8. 30 owners in baseball. 22-8 is the less than 75%. 23-7 is more than 75%. So the magic number is 8. Are there 8 owners that will tell Manfred, we ain't agreeing to the cap? Okay. Technically, you can say we're on the side of the players. We're not agreeing with the cap. Come up with a plan B. That's the first number. If Manfred can get his 23 votes, this could get ugly.
I mean, the handful that are already against it.
But are there 8?
Exactly. And are there teams that are actually spending a bunch of money that would much rather have a cap?
There seems to be 6 for sure, but are there 8?
Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show? MillerandMoulton.com or any of the usual places you download your podcast. A guy that does a couple of podcasts, Seth Everett. He's next. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Getting over the hump together.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com.
This is Miller & Moulton.
still got text stream on there. It means I got more work to do today. Actually,
More work.
Not today. I won't do it. I got stuff to do today.
We haven't done text stream since at least a couple of years.
Yeah, I hadn't done a home studio in at least a couple of years.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you.
Looks sharp.
Thank you. I somehow we ended up, I guess when we bought the stuff from the Florida Sports Network, we had a Comrex I didn't even know we had. So now that we're on satellite, I have the Comrex here to hook up with the satellite company so I can headquarter everything here. This new board, Seth, this Rodecaster Pro 2.
Yeah.
Holy cow, it's the greatest thing I've ever. It's so nice.
Yeah, I've seen demos of it. Cool.
Would it behoove me to get one or no?
No.
Okay.
You wouldn't do enough with it.
You don't need it. Unless you were doing the show all yourself, you've got everything you need.
Right.
I think you would be better off finding a microphone that just went right into your computer than that little gadget that you bring around. I think you're carrying too much stuff. You could get a good podcast microphone that connects directly to your computer, like I have. My headsets connect. I just have the earbuds, but I connect them right to that same microphone, and you could go with your computer and a microphone on the road, and that's all you would need.
He speaks the truth.
And you can get a pretty decent podcast microphone for
They're not that expensive. Yeah, they're not super expensive. Unless, of course, you steal this one.
Well done, you.
It's like a 15-year theft. Isn't there a statute of limitations on those things?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Puck, I honestly, I know you just tell us to inform us, but I have to tell you, we have nothing. I mean, I cannot emphasize this enough, how little we have to do with the Fort Myers affiliate.
Virtually zero.
So weird.
Yeah, well. In fact, I have radio equipment here that I'm thinking about putting on eBay.
There you go. I've done that.
Have you? I've got a condenser microphone, something or rather.
Yep.
I
I sold my my old ISDN box.
Really?
Somebody bought it. Yeah, it was a couple $100.
Yeah, I kind of looked at these on eBay, and they're like about $150. I'm like,
but it was more like the purge. To me, purging is the greatest feeling in the world.
We are actually thinking of buying my mother's house because she wants to sell it, and it's much smaller. My daughter's not for it, but one thing I've learned from what happened and what I've gone through is like, this is just stuff, man. You can get rid of it, and obviously you had to do it with what you went through. It's just like I could downsize to if that means my wife gets to work less, I'm in.
Yep. I could pack this place up in a day.
Perfect. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home on this hump day, at least in Jacksonville and Tampa, St. Pete. Final hour of the show. Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas in the 239 of Southwest Florida, and Live Oak, Lake City, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. If it's this day and time, it means Seth Everett, host of two terrific podcasts, Sports with Friends and Hall of Justice. Is that a Saturn the Car Maker shirt?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
It looks reasonably new, and they haven't made one of those in 15 years?
Well, I mean, truth be told, it was a gift, but it was a gift a bunch of years ago when it didn't fit. Now it fits.
Okay.
Ah,
And that is one of those great things about losing a bunch of weight. You have a whole new wardrobe.
Yeah. So this is an old new shirt. It's new to me,
Right.
but I've had it. It's been sitting here. I couldn't get rid of it, but yeah, I had a Saturn for like 15 years. And in all my cities, so Syracuse, Denver, Seattle, Hoboken, New York City, like every place I lived, my Saturn was the only constant in my life. And I was playing around with AI, and I had AI recreate my Saturn, the black 1993, the whole thing, and it looks exactly like it. And I had it parked in an image next to my current car, my Ioniq, and it was like going back in time. I had so much fun. So now I've been like all jonesing for Saturn.
my mom had a Saturn. In fact, she was very upset. She outlived the company, and she kept it and kept it, and then finally something went wrong, and that's
Yep.
mechanics were like,
We don't have the parts.
we can't get parts.
Yeah.
You really may have to think about getting a new one of these. And wife had one as well.
Yeah, my old man had one for a while, and for some reason he had two cars later in life. He had a Saturn and a big Cadillac. I think it was really the oxymoron of cars. Seth,
You think I haven't driven a Cadillac before? I've driven a Cadillac hundreds of times.
But why do we have to go to dinner at 4:30? I'll spring at 6. All right, I was thinking about you, Seth.
Uh-oh.
No, because I do this segment at the end of the show. Today was a day when, and I go through all sports history and history basically. And there was like soccer. I never put soccer facts in it.
No, come on.
But it got me thinking about when the hell is this damn Champions League final? This fake league that we put together for some trophy. And a couple of things I realized. One, man, do they spend? I mean, could you imagine if we had a month between the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl? That was the first thing I thought. And two, your beloved Arsenal has never won this trophy.
Never
Before. So this would be a big deal to them. But Seth, can you help me and the other people who I watch European football? I do. I put it on in the morning instead of talking heads. I'll watch the occasional game. Yep. Now that my daughter's played for 5 years, I know enough. I know just enough to be dangerous.
Man City has a big game today.
But I know we have the Premier League, and then we got in all these European leagues, and they play together for the European Championship, which is a really big deal. I get it. But why did they go on forever? I mean, when were the semis of this thing? Arsenal won and PSG beat the German team there. I don't even remember who Arsenal beat. This was like 3 weeks ago.
Atletico Madrid.
And they don't play the final until the end of this month.
Yeah, May 30th. May 30th, be there. The interesting thing is all these teams that are in this Champions League have their own domestic leagues that they're in. So the cool thing about the Champions League final is the Premier League will be over before the Champions League final. So they will know, first of all, if they will either hoist a trophy for their first Premier League victory since 2003, and that could happen as early as Monday, because on today, Man City plays. If Man City drops points and Arsenal wins on Monday, they'll clinch the Premier League.
Because they don't have playoffs in these leagues. Why would
no playoffs, no overtime? There's not, and it's 20 teams, so you play 38 games. 19 opponents twice. The ultimate balanced schedule, and that's it. And so they could win that and have the euphoria or the heartbreak of the Premier League before they head into that Champions League final, which is at a neutral site in Budapest.
Mark, the fix is in. Okay. The fix is in. I know you're not paying close attention. My son-in-law, the two teams that are battling are Seth's Arsenal. My son-in-law is a Man City fan.
As am I.
Okay. Yeah. And so Man City won on Saturday, and Arsenal played on Sunday.
Yes.
They played the team that I have followed since I was 9 because my good friend Chris Nichols was from England and his family was a West Ham United
Ham,
family. And so I would watch the one match a week they could get their hands on at his house. And that was my soccer education.
That stadium is where they played all the baseball games a couple of years ago.
Well, Mark, West Ham tied Arsenal in the 95th minute, and maybe the most controversial VAR ruling since they've started using the technology.
Yeah.
Took the goal off the board, and instead of Arsenal finishing with a 1-1 tie, which would have allowed Man City to win out and win the league, Arsenal escapes with a 1-0 win. And Seth, we know you're an Arsenal homer, but tell me, as controversial calls go, equate that to something that's happened in the U.S. because apparently it's like the most controversial soccer call, at least this decade.
Well, no, the argument against it is not the same argument that the NFL has. The argument against it is that it's inconsistent because what people have been showing, what the pundits have been showing, is countless times in which Arsenal committed a very similar infraction and didn't get the call. I don't think anybody's disputing that they grabbed the goalie, the Arsenal goalie, they grabbed him by the arm, and that's interference. I mean, it was a foul. It is a foul.
Mark,
the question is that
Seth,
now you're calling it fair when in reality you haven't been calling it fair all season.
Mark, the Arsenal is Oklahoma City. Arsenal gets away with stuff. They do.
Yeah.
They play a style and they get away with stuff. And this is the refs allowing Oklahoma City to play a certain way and then calling, the Eastern Finals or the NBA Finals. Imagine they call a foul on the Knicks to take a win off the board. And literally there's 13 examples of SGA in the Thunder.
Oh, I can't wait for that to happen. But the bigger thing is that our fans, our United States fans, love about this sport. Skip Arsenal. No offense. Skip the Arsenal part. West Ham is right now going to be relegated.
Yes.
They're 2 points back.
And they care. Yeah. That was the thing. That controversy was not just Man City and Arsenal. It was West Ham fighting for their lives to stay in the league.
But West Ham, who's been in the league forever, Tottenham, who's been in the league forever, those are the two teams. One of those two are going to be relegated because the team that's 5 from the bottom, they're fine, they're safe. They're 2 points between West Ham and Tottenham. So that is actually the thing that the U.S. sports fan loves about the EPL. It doesn't matter if you're a baseball fan, a college football fan. It doesn't matter because we talk a lot about the college football expansion or breaking.
And the Jets to the CFL. Yeah.
Right.
I was in Boston this weekend, and I went to a watch party, an officially sanctioned Arsenal watch party.
This is your new thing.
Down the street.
You're looking to find your second wife at an Arsenal watch party.
It's down the street from Fenway Park. So it was right there, and it was buzzing because the Red Sox were playing the Rays right around the same time. And there were probably, I heard, I didn't count this, but I heard there were estimates of like 400 people there in this bar. Like this bar was packed. It had 4 rooms. And when they announced that goal was disallowed, that was the loudest. That place was absolute bedlam. Bedlam. I did not know I was getting out of that place. It was insane. And what it would have been if Arsenal didn't have the goal disallowed.
Crushing.
That would have been crushing. Like while they were checking, because they were checking for a good 6 minutes, you could hear a pin drop in that place. Like the tension was so palpable. It was such a fun experience.
Did it take longer to get that VAR than it did to figure out whether the goal last night in the Buffalo-Montreal game was a goal? Because that was the longest damn.
It took forever. I know.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I'm not super critical on it taking a long time because I want them to get it right. And some of these, it's hard. I mean, it just because you have replay doesn't make it cut and dry. It's something, but yeah, that time taken is deadly. I mean, it's like a form of torture, just waiting to see what they're going to rule. What a fun sport, and what a fun experience. I have embraced this. I embraced this during COVID. I was looking for something else to follow, but I've had an absolute blast. And we have a chance. Arsenal could win
Look
two
at that.
champions.
Look at that. It's a we.
Well, so what they do in England, they say we on television. They say we, the journalists say we also in the podcast that I listen to, and it's all the we. That's a big thing there.
Okay.
And that's one of the things. And this is my 5th year watching this, and this is the closest. Obviously, the last 3 years, Arsenal's finished in 2nd place, and they have a chance to win 2 championships in the next 3 weeks.
Fixes in. That's for sure. 30 seconds. Is it Sports with Friends or Hall of Justice this week?
Sports with Friends. We do a tribute to the late, great John Sterling, including all kinds of clips and great John Sterling stories. Jack Kende Maldonado, was the road engineer for 2 decades with John and Michael Kay and Susan Waldman. And they traveled together. So great stories from Jack Maldonado. The next episode of Sports with Friends is a great tribute in the works to Bobby Cox, who I had a very interesting relationship with.
Looking forward to that. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. Seth, as always, appreciate your time and your insight. Okay, keep that shirt looking new.
Go Saturn.
Miller and Moulton. Christopher Powers in 40 minutes.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
In XF, if you're still in here, no, we are not Southerners, but to say that we're retards, okay. I have no problem with that. Not the first time I've been called that. My guess is you came in and out pretty quickly. Oh, I know I can't say that word anymore, Dratharian. I'm just repeating the word he used.
Yeah, and I'm playing with my.
Yeah, and after that, I have to be honest, XF, you had me noticing how much David was licking himself during that segment.
Gotta shave. It's driving me nuts. Man, been called a lot of things. Been called retards in a while.
Not in a while.
Long while. Could be right. Yes, Paula. It's apparently now the New Jersey Devils and Arsenal, in which he goes we. And Syracuse. He's got 3 we's.
I have 1 we. I've only had 1 we. I do not ever refer to any of the Detroit teams as we.
Nope.
Never have.
Just your alma mater, right?
It's the one I got a piece of paper from. Oh, Paula, we know. We know you're a we. You rationalize all the Michigan cheating with we's.
Yeah, really.
But you've never said we steal signs. That's interesting.
Right. Excuse me. Sorry.
Or we got our mistress pregnant. I mean,
right.
what the F's wrong with people for using the word? Or I love how you rationalize it, Paula. I love how you rationalize it.
Everyone didn't cheat like Michigan.
No one cheated like Michigan.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
Yeah. And just own it. I mean, you don't care. Yeah, Paula.
Well played, DC. Deadstroke, that's a great point. They are the New England of college football cheating. Yes. Well played. I was thinking the same thing, but you typed it faster than I said it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Christopher Powers at the top of the hour. We'll look ahead to the PGA Championship, which gets underway tomorrow. Scheffler, the defending champ. Rory's won back-to-back Masters. Cameron Young, since the Ryder Cup, has played golf at a Rory and Scheffler-like level, quite frankly. That's the big three entering the tournament. Can somebody else win it? If Cameron Young wins, it's his first major. This is the championship in which a lot of guys
have gotten their first major in.
You have the past champions. You'll get to them more quickly in your head than I will be able to look them up. Has that still been the case since they've moved the tournament to May? Because seemingly that happened a lot more. And obviously it was played in August for a much longer time. So that would make sense. But when we talk about that, it seemed to be the last major. More, we already had played 3. And the guy who maybe hung around the top of a leaderboard or had one good tournament of the first 3 majors would then win the PGA. Now that it's first, are we still getting that, David?
Well, you'd have to tell me when it moved to May. Okay. I thought it moved to May with Koepka, which was the late teens. I thought Koepka won one of his PGAs in May. Okay. I thought at Bethpage, he won it in May. He had won the year before in St. Louis, okay, or just outside St. Louis. But I thought he won at Bethpage in 2019 in 2019.
May. That was the first one.
Okay. So remember, Justin Thomas, Jimmy Walker, Jason Day, Jason Duffner, Keegan Bradley. Okay. They all got, and they were damn near all in a row. They won their first majors. That was the 2010s, basically. Trying to think. Koepka's first major was a U.S. Open, wasn't it? Before he went back-to-back PGAs. But, Morikawa, I think's first major was the COVID PGA at Harding Park in San Francisco. I'm trying to think if that was his first or second major. Schauffele last year, didn't he or 2 years ago, didn't Schauffele break through and finally win a major at Valhalla and then won another major later in the year? So it's not quite as often, Mark. Scheffler won last year. He obviously had won majors before. I think Schauffele broke through in 24, winning a major at the PGA. Then before that was Koepka. Before that was Justin Thomas. That was his second PGA. Phil, it was his 6th major. So, most of the guys who have won since it's moved to May have been major champions.
So how much do you put on the toe then? I mean, seriously, Rory and the blister on the toe, hobbling around. I mean, that was the big talk yesterday on the Golf Channel. It's Tuesday, David. They had nothing to talk about.
Obviously.
They're watching guys on the range.
Yeah, I think it's laughable. Okay. It's not going to affect his swing. Okay, it hurts to walk. Oh, well. I mean, please, who's out there with the bad back? I mean, you could tell. There's a part of me that's worried for him. Is he really going to mess up his back? He finished the Masters, remember, so impressively. I mean, is that Morikawa?
Yeah, Morikawa.
Yeah, who's clearly nursing, who's trying to play through a back injury. Oofda. That's tough to do.
It is tough to do. And they all end up getting some sort of back injury at some point. I mean, and he was playing really well. I mean, he had a hell of a Masters, despite the fact that he was having a tough time walking.
Well, and having a tough time reaching down and getting his ball out of the cup.
Right.
There was a part of me in which I said, listen, if he has a suction thing at the end of his putter and he just flips it over and grabs the ball, I hope nobody gives him a hard time, because this bending over looks awful.
You got to bend at the knees then. You got to do the old man bend. I mean, you can't just do what you've been doing your whole life. You got to do the catcher squat and get down. I playing golf with my father all those years, who had an awful back. He would never get the suction cup. That was beneath Fred, but he bent at the knees. He couldn't bend over to get the tee. It was, I'd make fun of him. I go, back hurting today. I'd get all over him for it, but suction cup, never, ever. So we've got a course they haven't played in forever.
64 years,
a couple of tournaments, Tigers AT&T tournament, and they had one of the FedEx stops, or playoff stops a couple of years ago.
Right. So Gil Hans redesigned the course. a noted golf course designer, made his bones when they finally brought golf back to the Olympics. He did the Olympic course, which I believe was in Brazil, and it got rave reviews. He's redesigned a lot of courses. He took out 100 trees, and some people are very critical. So he did an interview this week in which he said, well, let me show you what the course looked like. Take a look at the trees. Take a look at where they are. A lot of these trees really didn't affect play, number one. Number two, you know what they did affect? They affected the soil. And I won't bore you with the rest of what he said, but he basically said, trees hurt the turf more than anything else. They suck the nutrients out of it. So if a tree is not really in the line of play, I got to get rid of it because I got to leave the course better off than when I got it. And I got to leave it better off for the members for when the tournament's over. And he said, trust me, these grounds are a lot healthier now than they were before I redesigned it. And then he got into the whole, it's a Donald Ross design, and he's about bunkering and keeping the ball below the hole, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
There are two things. One, what you just said there about the Donald Ross course, the turtle-backed greens,
Right.
or whatever you want to call them. That's what I've always called them. So one missing right, left, where these guys miss more. They don't miss short. I mean, they don't miss club themselves anymore. They're not 10 yards short in front. Now, maybe on a par 5 that's longer and they're going for, they may play to the front of the green than trying to get on. But they don't miss short. They miss right and left. So chipping will be a big part of this tournament. But I thought the other point that Bob Herrig made that we all know, it's still spring there. These courses are not in, really, it's hard to get them in tournament shape in early May. It's been cold there. They've not had a warm spring. I mean, we have listeners who have left, who found us in Southwest Florida, have moved on and watch us in the chat room, and they're talking about 30-degree temperatures in places. I know from talking to my mother-in-law, it's, she's 4 hours from Philly, but she's still in Pennsylvania. It's not been a warm spring. So it's difficult to get a course in tournament shape without great weather.
Well, when they moved the PGA to May, one of the things that we wondered is this going to open up other parts of the country? Will we get a PGA in Florida? I think didn't we just have a PGA, or we're about to in Texas?
Right.
Texas hadn't hosted a major since the late 60s. Will Arizona, get a PGA? Just does this open up Oklahoma? Can you, instead of playing at Southern Hills in the dead of summer, can you play a PGA at Southern Hills in May? Okay, that's what I'm wondering. Can, these traditional Northeast courses, hey, I grew up with them. I'm all for them. But I'm wondering, can this open up some Southern states and some, close to Southern states? Because May might be actually the perfect month to play a major in those states.
So I'm just curious weather-wise what this means for the week, because what I'm seeing is, there's a chance of rain on Saturday, but the temperatures are going to be pretty warm this weekend. So you're not going to run into something where maybe an early morning tee time on Thursday, somebody's out playing in 40-degree weather. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case this weekend. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. FloorMeisters.com. CCC
The
1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home? With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
That's what I get when I look up something late in a segment. Wind is what makes those tournaments good, though, Puck. I would love to see it there with it being really windy. I mean, that's why Florida in May is that they'll eat whatever they play up. That's why the players is so much better in March. So much better. By the way, well, I'll wait. I'll make this analogy on air.
We're trying, EB. We're trying. We really are. But also sometimes, it's just you guys talking amongst yourselves.
sometimes we get in trouble when we try to intervene. You are that, Paula.
I just left that Sonny left us for. I yelled at him for the Dan Patrick stuff. Then he came back. No one said anything negative to him. And then he told us how much our show sucked and he wasn't listening anymore. That was funny. I can't. Like I told him, it's all your rights. You want to turn us off and listen to something else? You've all got that right. We have no control over you listening. None whatsoever. Never have, never will.
But it is interesting that 2 or 3
He did recalibrate, JDR. He did.
So did Irish.
Well, Irish, I have no problem running him off. He went after my child. I'd do it in public and I'd get arrested. No. Come at me. Like that guy called us retards. I don't care. I don't care. Attack my daughter? No. You're a punk.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Christopher Powers will join us then from Golf Digest and from the Loop podcast. He's a fun guest. Talk some golf. PGA gets underway tomorrow morning. By the way, Mark, it should be in the low to mid 50s tomorrow when they tee off for the PGA just outside of Philadelphia.
But that's the coldest it's going to be the whole week. I mean, it's upper 80s by the weekend. So, I mean, it's going to be really nice weather. Hot for that part of the country in May.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think weather will be a problem. You know, one of the things that we've had people argue with us about via the text line, the chat room, whatever, is that when college football goes to 24 teams in the playoff, and I say when it goes because there's not a doubt in my mind that by the end of the decade, we'll be playing with 24 teams in the college football tournament. But will they continue to play good non-conference games? You and I are of the opinion at 24, scheduling will be much better than it is at 12.
Yes.
If I could use college basketball as the example, we would win. Because have you seen the college basketball schedule for next year already?
No.
I mean, Michigan already announced they're playing UConn. It's going to be in Boston in November, I think on a Friday night. Way to go, guys. Way to go, Hurley. Way to go, Dusty May. Good job getting that game together for us. I'm in. These are two really good. Michigan's going to be great as long as he's there. They're spending money. They're getting the players they want, and he can flat out coach. And Hurley's the best coach in the game right now. He is. I don't think there's a better one. You take Pitino right now, I'll take Hurley. You know,
Fair enough.
I think what he's doing, not only getting his players to play defense, but the offensive sets he runs are better than most other teams.
I will agree with you. I think he's a brilliant offensive coach. Those sets are spectacular. He's phenomenal coming out of timeouts. Yes, a gifted coach.
And then, because I saw this yesterday to bring it a little closer to home, and but they're having that tournament in Vegas, the Players Era tournament that's in Las Vegas. 16 teams. It's going to be a bracket-style tournament. And apparently, you can win a lot of money for your NIL.
Yes.
Okay, I'm in. I know they're doing a women's one as well, but the men's tournament, Florida, Michigan, Alabama, Houston, Kansas, Gonzaga, and UNLV gets to play in it as well. So, I mean, one, you and I have talked about the revenue and what we think college football needs to do to maximize revenue. David, I got to think that with these, you were just talking about Georgia and Florida State. Where are they going to play that game at? wins a players era, not necessarily tournament, but a season opener game, going to be at X Stadium in Vegas, Atlanta, wherever. And there's some NIL money there for the programs. I mean, I think you're going to see more of these early season neutral site games in college because they can benefit the program perhaps even more than playing a home game. That we may not get the home and homes that we really want as fans of whatever team, but we may get more neutral site games. And look, I'll just talk about the Gators and the Canes. Now, they're both draws. It's really hot in August. We're going to be playing late August. It's not only really hot, it rains every damn day. You want to play these weeks, now we call it week 0 games? Hell, put Miami and the University of Michigan at Ford Field. Put the Gators in Wisconsin at the new stadium in Chicago, whether it's going to be in Indiana or in Illinois. But, Cleveland's building a new dome. Put the Buckeyes and whomever there. We know Jarrett's place is going to get something. We know Atlanta is going to get theirs. SoFi can get theirs. They were going to get UCLA, and then the Rose Bowl sued them. So I don't know how quickly that'll happen.
Well, Mark, the only way a major college is going to give up a home game is if they can make more money at a neutral site game than they can if they played a home game.
Well, they can.
Exactly. Never mind if they can also have it specifically go to, wait a minute, you're going to put it in a coffer and now we don't have to donate that money to that coffer?
Daddy, I mean, we just went through what the top colleges are spending.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. But, David kind of teased it, and you can go look at it. I've got it. I can tell you, and I did it during one of the breaks, of the 9 games that are being played overseas this year in the NFL. That schedule seems to be out.
Right.
3 in London, 1 in Madrid, 1 in Germany, 1 in Rio, the Australia game, 1 in Paris, and I might be missing one there.
And the Niners host.
Mexico City.
Yeah, and for quick tangent, doesn't look like any of them are on a Monday night either.
Well, it's funny that you say that because the schedule all had the weeks and the dates as Sunday. That could be the one error on this. I just got that feeling that Mexico City game's got your name all over it, David.
Yeah, we do too. We were surprised. We saw that same list that you're referencing, and that's why, we're looking for it elsewhere, maybe at a site that's more commonly referenced, and we haven't seen it. Rappaport and Schefter haven't confirmed that list yet either. They haven't confirmed it off the record, via a text chain either. So, yeah, I think the folks at Monday Night Football will be very surprised if there's 9 international games and they don't get a one of them.
Would they be upset?
Not at all.
I was going to say, it seems like it would be pretty costly to have to set up shop in Mexico City or wherever. They're not going to get a European game, I don't think.
Correct. No, Brazil and Mexico City, right, or Australia. All right, they're the games, and I guess there's a future game coming to China. Okay, something where you can either it's in our time zone or it's an hour apart, which is Mexico City, Brazil, or you got to go 12 plus hours. And then you could work it where it's a noon game there and it's an 8 p.m. game in the States.
But they gave us Cincinnati and Atlanta in Madrid week 9. That came out yesterday. We know the Rams and the Niners are playing in Melbourne, and we know that the Ravens and Cowboys are playing in Rio week 3.
Correct.
The rest of the games, and we knew yesterday, or we might have known last week, that Jacksonville was playing a division game.
Houston.
It's Houston. That's going to be in London. Looks like they're also playing the Eagles in London.
It's not official, but it's out there.
I thought it was interesting that Paris has a game and they have the Saints. Makes sense.
The Niners are not happy.
They have two, right?
Well, exactly. First off, this is the year where the NFC is the home team for these international games because the NFC teams have the 9 home games this year. So the Niners are a road team for a Rams home game in Australia. Remember, Mark, we've talked about it a lot. Niners fill SoFi. I mean, 60-40, 65-35 Niners fans for a Niners-Rams game at SoFi. They own the place. So now they're going to go to Australia. Who knows what that makeup's going to be? Who knows that the fans there are going to be cheering during stoppages of play, like European football was to start. And then the Niners apparently are going to be the home team in Mexico City. They're very popular there. I will say that. Very popular there, them and the Cowboys. And the Niners are the home team. So the Niners have 2 international games. Not happy about that.
By the way, since you brought up the Niners owning SoFi, correct statement, not even disputing it, not for 1 second. A lot was made about game 4 of the last NBA series in Philadelphia, that the Knicks fans completely took over in game 4 in Philly.
Yep.
And people that are not fans of either team are like, you can't allow that to happen. That you're not a good sports town if you allow that to happen. Really? I mean, the Knicks have a big fan base. It's not it's a train ride. So it's not difficult or expensive to get from one to the other.
And if you want to drive it, literally from New York City to the arena is less than 2 hours. And it's literally connected by one road.
We have more people with more money than ever before. So when you think in terms of buying a ticket for what they were asking, there are a lot of people. A lot of us can't afford stuff like that, but there are far more that can than ever before.
And let me tell you something. Paying top dollar on the street in Philly is cheaper than paying face price for a Knicks ticket. Knicks tickets are top 3 expensive in the league.
And hard to get. I mean, skip the whole trying to get a ticket, David. It's hard to get your hands on Knicks tickets. It's one of the Lakers tickets probably harder. Outside of the Lakers, I don't know if there's a harder ticket to get in the NBA. So you have a huge fan base for the Knicks that really can't ever get tickets for a regular season game, let alone a playoff game. Now you've got a team that's down 3-0, and people bought tickets for game 4 and said, you mean I can double my money, triple my money on this ticket? I don't give a damn. So I just think in a free market society, you can't get ticked off at the Philadelphia fan. Look at me sticking up for Philly fans. I can't believe this right now. But I'm not one that sits there and blames the Philadelphia fan for game 4. I might blame the Sixers for not playing so well. But if it's 2-1, it's not I don't think it's nearly that bad. There are going to be a lot of Knicks fans there, but not as many as it was at 3-0.
Josh Hart of the Knicks with a harsh comment, in my opinion, because he played his college ball at Villanova in that arena many a game. And Josh Hart, after the series was over, said, wow, I thought Philadelphia was a great sports city. What happened? Now that's harsh. But was it Maxey or was it the rookie guard for the Sixers who basically said, I can't blame our fans. We're not winning enough. Okay, if we were up 2-1, we would have packed this place with our fans. But we're not winning. I can't blame them. We have to start winning these games to expect them to come.
And, well, they'll try it a different way because Daryl Morey was let go.
Yeah, Nick Nurse stayed, which is interesting because there was a lot of reports that the key players in Nick Nurse are not exactly Christmas card buddies. So that's interesting. I mean, he won a championship with the Raptors. He's a proven excellent coach. But yeah, they get rid of the GM and not the coach. I have a question. Mark, you're interviewing for the job. Isn't your question of me, so do I have to keep Nick Nurse, or did you keep him on board and I get to decide who the coach is? I mean, there are a lot of GM candidates who are not interested in the job if they can't pick the coach.
100%, David. To me, after the hellos and we sit down, I guess at the point when he says, any questions for you, when the owner says, or the president, whoever's doing the hiring of the GM says, do you have any questions for me? Yeah. Do I get to pick the coach? We could have started with this.
Right.
David, there was a meeting we were in many years ago that if they would have started with what they ended with, the meeting would have been even shorter than it was.
Right. And we shortened that meeting as much as we could.
Right. I mean, we shut that sucker down 5 minutes in. So I'm with you. But I'm not dumping on Philly for Knicks fans flooding that arena. I'm not. And I have to, I don't know. Look at it. In Detroit or Cleveland, I don't think they'll have that type of presence. I don't.
I don't either.
Not as easy to get to. Can't get there by train. Your driving's a lot longer. So I don't think it will be the same way. But Philly at 3-0, I'm just not surprised. And I'm not blaming Philadelphia fan for it. Miller and Moulton. We'll jump back to the PGA. Christopher Powers will join us next and tell us who he thinks is going to win the PGA that gets going tomorrow outside of Philadelphia.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I go ahead. I'm telling you, we're wrong in that. You guys all wear your jerseys whenever the hell you want. I've made that now a personal rule. I don't care. I'll just make fun of my son when he does it. Now that he's about to be out of the age, he is out of the age bracket for it. Although I think he only wears them to games. What did we do the second two segments there, David? I'm blank right now. We did Seth, then what? Hello?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Sorry.
I know we did the Philly fans the last segment. I'm just we did PGA.
PGA, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning. What's going on, guys?
How are you?
All good.
Appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And the Pro Hour, the final hour of Miller and Moulton in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. Thanks so much for being with us. And of course, we're live on the YouTube Miller and Moulton channel and the twitch.tv Miller and Moulton channel. And Christopher Powers joins us. You can see him on those channels. Golf Digest, the Loop podcast. Follow Christopher on X, letter C Powers, and the number 14, C Powers 14. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
All good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure. All right. We threw this out there yesterday. Apparently, it's the question of the tournament. Rory, Scott, Cameron Young, or the field? Which one would you take?
Well, I have, I guess, the field if you go off my pick to win in the Golf Digest expert picks column, which dropped last night and obviously usually picks up some steam on Wednesday morning. I have Matt Fitzpatrick to win. So I guess my answer to that question would be the field.
Nice.
All right. And he's been playing well, decent odds. When you look at someone who could surprise, we always kind of talk about the live guys more than other shows because it interested us how it went. Hatton had a good Masters. Patrick Reed has not played in a while. He's not on that tour anymore, but on the DP World Tour. Is there a guy that maybe hasn't played as well this year that this could be their week? Is there someone, 40, 50 to 1 or on that you go, I could see this guy having a really good week?
I mean, I like Patrick Reed, but he has had a great year now. Like you mentioned, he has not played since the Masters, which is certainly concerning. But everybody was on him at the Masters. And I understand that's because he plays so well at Augusta National, and he had played well on the DP World Tour leading in. Then he goes and finishes T12 at Augusta, and now he's like double the odds. I just find that to be a little bit off. I gather it's because he hasn't played in a month. But I don't really have any concerns about Patrick Reed, his sharpness, his competitive sharpness. So I'm sure he's been grinding away at home. Now you'd like to see him have a rep or two. But Rory McIlroy took a whole month off before the Masters, and that served him well. Is Patrick Reed Rory McIlroy? No. But I like his odds. I like his history in the Northeast. He's won at Bethpage Black. He played great at Winged Foot in 2020. He played great. You want to go all the way back to 2016. He played well at Baltusrol in the PGA before he was Patrick Reed, really. Shinnecock, much different style of golf course, but he played well there. I just think he really likes this area of the country, this style of golf. I know it's Philadelphia, but it just looks like a New Jersey, New York type golf course here around him. So I think Patrick Reed's going to play pretty well this week. I have him to finish top 20. And then another guy kind of in that same vein is Sam Burns, who played really well at the Masters. Has had a solid season, but is sitting down here at 70 to 1, which is pretty shocking to me. Guy who almost won the U.S. Open at Oakmont, obviously another Pennsylvania golf course, similar layout to Aronimink. So Sam Burns and Patrick Reed have my attention this week.
It's fun. I think Koepka's going to have a good week this week. Okay, because I think the big boys can just grip it, rip it, find it on this course. What do you make of Rory and others saying, well, course has a lot of charm, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, the fairways are huge. I mean, it's basically going to be a second shot tournament.
Yeah, I'm hoping, Gil Hands was on Golf Channel last night, kind of going through hole by hole. Obviously, he did the redesign. I'm hoping these greens really challenge them. I'm hoping it gets really crispy. I believe it's supposed to rain there today or maybe tomorrow. I forget which day. It'll soften it up a little, but I think as the week goes on, it'll get a little bit drier. But it's not overly long. There's no trees, as Rory mentioned, so the big boys who hit driver a long way can kind of just wail away with impunity, go find the next one and knock it on the green. But there's some great runoff areas, and again, it's all about the greens here. So if they're as crazy as everyone's sort of saying, maybe it won't get into that 20 under range, but I still think we'll see a couple under par every day and probably in that 12 under to 15 under range.
All right. From everything I've read and seen, this is a typical Donald Ross course. The turtleback greens, and these guys don't miss short. That's not a PGA player they're never misclubbed anymore. They have all the yardage. So it's not like you're playing to the front of a green if you're going to miss. Is chipping going to be that if they get crusty like you talk about? Is this where, Scheffler's always been so good at Augusta chipping the ball?
Yep.
When you look at missing the greens, guys miss right and left. So it becomes the difference of being 3 under par and even getting up and down the 4 or 5 times you miss a green. Who has an advantage on this course when you look at the short game, if you will? Because I think that's where you win and lose majors.
Absolutely. I hope it's Matt Fitzpatrick, who obviously does the cross-handed chipping. And a course like Brookline a couple of years ago, 2022, I remember him getting up and down a ton. He had a couple of chip-ins. So hopefully that plays to his strengths. But you mentioned Scotty Scheffler. He's, I wouldn't say sneaky, one of the best short game players in the world. I think he is one of the best short game players in the world. Anytime he gets in trouble, he seems to get out of it. So I think it plays into his strengths as well. I've heard a lot of guys talk about Smiley Coffin was talking about it on Golf Channel last night too. The first cut is kind of difficult to predict. You're going to get a lot of different lies. It's not, when we roll into the first cut at our golf courses, we're kind of super thrilled to be in the first cut. It's kind of teed up a little bit. I think it sits down a little bit in this grass at Aronimink. Max Homa said he can see a lot of guys sort of stubbing it, kind of hitting it a yard or two. So you're going to have to be sharp around the green. So you mentioned Scotty. I like Matt Fitzpatrick, another guy who's incredible around the greens and just, top 20s in every major he plays in is Xander Schauffele. So I think it could play into his strengths as well.
Christopher Powers, Golf Digest, the Loop Podcast. Follow him on X, the letter C, Powers, the number 14. C, Powers, 14. What are you hearing about how they're going to work the LIV guys back in, or are they not? Are they basically going to say, yeah, our olive branch was December, January, February, and well, good luck to you.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Obviously, this Brian Rolap announcement about kind of social media, YouTube, they kind of loosen the rules on that. That makes me certainly think that Bryson is trying to find a path back. John Rahm's obviously under contract, and he's sort of talked about that. He's kind of in a tight spot. And then there's a guy like Hatton, who I know we've talked about. He might just have to go play on the DP World Tour and work his way back. And a guy like him is good enough to do that in a short period of time. So I don't worry about the super upper echelon player on LIV. The kind of lesser known guys, I don't know. I think the olive branch was extended, like you said, over the winter, and that olive branch is now gone.
It is going to be interesting too, because there were some young players, college guys that went to LIV, and some players that we thought were going to be good tour players. Now it could be 6 years, 5 years that it's going to take them to get on tour. One, I don't care if we don't remember who they are, because it's all on them. But if you go from playing where LIV, it doesn't seem, that they've been as able to be as competitive when they come to majors as they were before. And now you're asking a guy to go basically earn his stripes again. Some of these young guys who took the bag, it may not benefit them long term.
No, absolutely not, because, as John Rahm talked about, or at least he did at Augusta, he didn't really feel that sharp coming in. So, but, a guy like this week, I think he might play well, is David Pucci, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. He played in a U.S. Amateur a bunch of years ago in New Jersey. I got to talk to him. Seemed like a future star. He's gone over to LIV. Another guy from Spain, Jose Luis Ballester, another guy we've kind of just forgotten about because they've gone to LIV. Again, they're good enough to probably work their way back, but like you said, it might take a little bit longer for them, especially with the tour kind of shrinking a little bit, and less cards, and obviously these signature events, which I hope they kind of do away with, but we'll see about that. They're still working out all the schedule stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to be a tough road back for some of those guys who, like you said, took the bag.
Well, yeah, and plus we've already had 6 signature events, and we've got the Memorial, and then one right after the U.S. Open. I mean, all 8 before July 1st, 6 before the PGA. I mean, man, the schedule seems cramped, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I thought Xander made a great point about it yesterday. how we kind of sit here and just say like they got to change this. And Xander said, I think it's a little more difficult than that. You can't just, move this here and move this here and everything's okay. So I think Brian Rolep is working very hard on that right now. But next year, I think it's going to look fairly similar. They'll try to mix in some new elements of the new schedule. And then I think probably 2028 is when we might see the actual future schedule on the PGA Tour.
The blistered toe for Rory hobbling around yesterday. Is it an issue or is it Tuesday and we've got nothing else to talk about?
Classic Tuesday, nothing else to talk about. And Rory, I mean, taking the shoe off and kind of playing into it. I think he knows what he's doing there, getting everybody all riled up. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, wasn't that the equivalent of him wearing the tightest shirt he's got to the Tuesday presser? I mean, isn't that the equivalent?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Give us a storyline that we haven't addressed for this PGA.
I mean, Ludwig Aberg, 20. I know he's 20-1, so he is one of the favorites. He's played really well this year. He's a top 10 machine. I know he kind of folded at the Players. He made one bad swing on the 12th, and it all kind of ended for him there. But he hasn't fallen off since then. He's played really well. I know Valero, he kind of struggled on Sunday too. I think he's going to get in the mix again after 54 holes, and I'm fascinated to see how he handles it with all those experiences this year. I think it's not getting late early for him. He's still a young guy, got a bright future, but these Sunday kind of struggle sessions are starting to add up for him. So I'm keen to see if he gets in the mix, how he handles himself this weekend.
30 seconds. Ricky Fowler's been hot. Does he stay hot this week or does a major bite him in the you-know-what?
I think he stays hot because, he's just doing everything well right now. And that's kind of always been his calling card, just consistency throughout the bag. Unfortunately, it doesn't really get him over the hump. I think he'll be in the top 20, top 10. I've just been burned by Ricky too much over the years to think he's going to finally get it done here.
Bryson, Oberg, and Ricky paired together the first 2 days. They tee off on the back nine early tomorrow morning. Christopher, thanks for your time and your insight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, boys.
Christopher Powers, Golf Digest, the Loop Podcast. Follow him on X, the letter C, Powers 14, C, Powers 14. Talking PGA here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hey, Chad. You know, for those of you that are my age or thereabouts and are fans of the Breakfast Club, like your wife is, David, I've realized that my daughter, from a food standpoint, is definitely whatever the Molly Ringwald character. Is it Claire? Whatever. No, it wasn't Claire. That's not right. But anyhow, because like last night I made salmon. It was wonderful, by the way. And the daughter today, like when I asked her what she wanted for lunch and I gave her the choices of what kind of leftovers or I could make, she went with the salmon and put it like in a hamburger bun. And I made a little lime mayonnaise sauce for it. I'm like, this is like Claire eating sushi. At like, what are you eat? Like, I mean, no one's eating, you know, a salmon dish at lunch. It just, she's such a food snob already.
Well, that's what we're supposed to do, right? The next generation.
Yeah, she better learn how to cook or she's in big trouble, because right now she has no interest and she's going to go off to college and freshman year, fine, the dorms. And then she's going to be on her own and it's going to be back to ramen noodles.
Yep. And never mind when it comes to, you know, she's going to have to marry somebody like you. Going to have to marry a guy who loves to cook. You know, my daughter's got it right. Her husband loves to cook, does all the most 80, 90% of the cooking. Loves it.
By the way, Javier, a maple syrup chipotle lime glaze for the salmon, for my chef in there. One of my favorites. And I'm not even a big salmon guy, but it's one of my favorite things to make. I would make that for anybody and say, here, go ahead and have this. Had a little leftover pasta, so we made a little garlic butter cilantro lime dish for that. That was a nice little side. That was fun. Going to make my first fried plantains. I've never made those before, but I had to check to see, and the plantains not at the right ripeness apparently to make. Wife loves them. Whatever, but the wife loves them. Got to keep her happy. She's back to work. So, David, I may have sent the most interesting text that I've ever sent in my life yesterday. The shock that this person must have had when they received the text. My wife has an acquaintance who's going through marital problems, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
And that person lives in Naples. So I sent my ex-wife a text that said, hey, who was your divorce lawyer with me? Who was your first divorce lawyer with me? And that's how I not much more. Then I said, by the way, it's a friend of my wife's. Right. Second, I'm like, I bet you didn't think you were going to get that from me today.
LOL.
Yep. Right. She did laugh. She's like, that you did catch me off guard with that. Because I actually just tossed all of the paperwork. I'm like, my kid's 26. I had a file full of all this crap from my divorce that, again, trying to thin out stuff. I mean, just throwing piles of things away. It's awesome. Nothing feels better.
I know. I can't convince my wife to do it. I just love it.
Do you know, by the way, do you have any idea where the microphone and all the stuff that I sent you is yet?
It's in the closet, I think, on the floor in a big tub.
$600 microphone. He uses headsets. That's a really good microphone. Really good.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. The pro hour, the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So the NFL made it official right around the time we started talking with Christopher Powers. So that international games list that you and I both saw posted last night looks as if it's accurate. And it's now official. The international games that the NFL has released. I will say it's week 1. They take week 2 off. And then, Mark, there's an international game week 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11.
Right. Week 2 and week 8 are the only weeks without international games.
Right. Outside of the Jags, NFC teams are quote unquote the home team. We know about Australia, Rams hosting Niners. We know about Rio, week 3, Cowboys hosting Ravens. Week 4, Commanders hosting Colts. Week 5, Jags hosting Eagles. Week 6, Jags hosting Texans.
I mean, those are 2 really good games for the Jags. I mean, those are 2 good London games. Our Eagles fan was like, easy win. I'm like, whoa, they won how many games last year? You're calling it an easy win?
Gonna say 13 wins for the Jags last year.
But I mean, think of that. I mean, 13 wins. How many did Philly have last year? They were a 10+ win team.
Oh, easily.
So, and then, that's double-digit wins back-to-back weeks in London. That they don't typically get games like that.
Week 7 in Paris, Saints hosting Steelers. Week 9 in Madrid, Falcons hosting Bengals. Bengals' first international game in 7 years. So it'll be the first international game for Joe Burrow and Jamar and company. Week 10, Germany. Lions hosting Patriots.
Look at Patriots have a worldwide fan base because of all their success. Amon St. Brown's mother's from Germany. I wonder if the Lions will get any love there.
That game, I believe, is on Fox. I believe Fox purchased the Munich game. So Fox will have a triple header that day, something they've never had before. Hey, for what it's worth, the Saturday before Christmas, the 19th, Fox and CBS have purchased those 2 games. Like in years past, those games were NFL Network games. The rumor this year was that they were going to be a Netflix doubleheader. Fox, the 4:30 game, CBS, the 8 o'clock game on the Saturday before Christmas, the 19th, ruining a Saturday that college football should be taking advantage of. And then finally, Mark, Mexico City, week 11, Niners hosting Vikings. And all of these games outside of the Australia game, which is on a Thursday, all of these games appear to be on Sunday, which rules out Amazon and rules out ABC Monday Night Football.
During the next break, if you join us on YouTube or Twitch, David will do the happy dance. So there's your international schedule. Don't know what other leaks we'll get today, if any. But what the schedule, when is it? Tomorrow night?
8 o'clock, ESPN2 and the NFL Network. That's for those that don't have Xfinity, because right now the NFL Network's blacked out on Xfinity. They're having a dispute. ESPN now owns the NFL Network. They've asked for more money from Xfinity as of May 1st. Xfinity said, no.
All right. In all seriousness, if you're Xfinity, why would you give more money for what does that network offer your viewers anymore? The draft? It's on 17 other networks. No live games?
Well, a couple, I think, but that's it. Not as many as they used to have. Right. You're talking about 2 or 3 NFL games, the draft, and just here's the thing. This is where, there's less than 200,000 people that watch that Good Morning Football, even though the show is critically acclaimed. And I would argue it's better than the morning programming on the 4-letter network. I mean, we're talking less than 200,000 viewers. If you're Xfinity, you ain't ponying up money for that.
Right. Like, I mean, I think the NFL Live show or whatever their afternoon show is not half bad. But,
No.
but NFL Live gets you the same information with different people on ESPN.
And some of those NFL Network people are going to start appearing on ESPN.
Eisen's, I think, cut back quite a bit because he's doing his radio. I mean, I'm just trying to think of you. Good Morning, outside of Good Morning Football, who lost their best person. And
I guess the Sunday pregame, if you preferred it, if you watched it and you preferred it to, the 4-letter network and then the 3-letter networks.
Right. And really the 4-letter because they were on for the same length of time, if you will.
Correct.
It's a 3-hour, I think, production from 10 to 1. But there's not a lot there.
No.
I mean, there used to be quite a bit more. So if I'm Xfinity, I'm like, yeah, pound sand. I'm not giving you another dime.
Oh, especially in mid-May. I mean, you certainly don't think about doing anything before Labor Day, do you?
Not a chance.
Uh-uh.
Do you really think anybody's phone's ringing at the Xfinity offices yelling, I want my MTV about, it's an old reference, but about the NFL network? I just don't. Especially like you said, in May. It was the MLB network. I mean, in all seriousness, right now, if it was the MLB network, I think people would complain. There are live games on that people want to watch.
So the 9 international games have been announced. I am surprised because it's pretty steady. The morning shows, each network gets their announcement. Monday was the Today Show and NBC. Yesterday was Good Morning America and ABC. Nothing on CBS's morning show today. The only news that has come out is what I just said, that Saturday before Christmas, CBS has the primetime game on December 19th. That's it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, what are they going to announce? What their first 4:30 game is? No, what's the big announcement that Fox or CBS has versus the others who show games in prime time?
Well, they already had the one big one in which they let you know it's Eagles Cowboys on Thanksgiving at 4:30, which will, or no, that was Fox. Mark, I'm wondering, are they going to get the Super Bowl rematch? I believe the Patriots are scheduled to go to Seattle. Will that be CBS's game and, announcement?
So the schedule comes out tomorrow. 2 hours you can sit in front of your television and find out when the games are being played that you already know are being played. I think it's worse than watching names read during the draft. And by worse, I think it's 60 times worse.
By the way, the Maple Leafs have just fired Craig Berube. Did you hear what Vegas is doing, by the way? Edmonton wants to interview Bruce Cassidy, who Vegas fired. Okay, and Vegas won't give Edmonton permission because they're still paying Cassidy. You fired the guy. Come on.
What is he, a radio host that you won't let go across the street? What the hell is this?
Well, they are in the same division. But you fired him.
Exactly. Miller and Moulton. 2 guys that know a little something about being fired. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when. What's on tap next?
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, CBW, I'm sure it does tremendous ratings. I'm sure more people will watch the NFL schedule release than the NHL game. Trust me, we're addicted to that league. I am sure it does a tremendous rating. I am. What does that league do that doesn't get a tremendous rating? I just think it's ridiculous. To me, I'd rather watch day 3 of the draft. And Johnny, while I appreciate you letting me know about ramen and digestion, I don't think, one, it was a reference to what we ate in college. And 2, I certainly don't think that a 19-year-old girl is going with Campbell's bean and bacon.
Hello.
And that's what I was speaking of. But thank you for the digestive properties of ramen noodles. No, not at all, CBW. Production costs aren't. They just stick 3 people in one of their studios and go live. No, it's simple. By the way, I think they probably already have the entire schedule. So if they can get all their graphics done and all, I think these schedule. I mean, these teams all have the schedules. I mean, I happened to listen to Eisen yesterday or the day, I think it was yesterday, and he was talking about how how Francesa used to get the Giants schedule every year. He had a guy from the Giants who leaked the schedule to him every year. And Eisen, when he cared, he goes, I used to get really ticked off because we had a show and these guys are leaking. Now I don't care.
Yeah, you will see tomorrow in the afternoon the connected beat writers or broadcasters with their teams. Social media will be loaded with team schedules. Who was it who released the schedule yesterday?
Eisen said there was a Patriot schedule out. I didn't go looking for it. I listened to 10 seconds of his show yesterday, and that's what they were talking about. And then I got a phone call. And then I was talking about drinking during the Turner Cup Finals in Fort Wayne, Indiana, with Doug Wickenheiser and John Purvis and my buddy Colin Miller. Colin Miller and Purvis were friends from junior. Wickenheiser is, kind of the all-time bust. He's now passed. He died, but he was, I think, drafted by the Canadians first overall. And I knew who he was, but I wasn't a Canadian, so I wasn't that enamored. and Colin Miller had blown his knee out, and he was traveling with the team in the finals. And we're at a bar the night before a game with Purvis and Wickenheiser. And the whole time, C. Mills like drinking with Doug Wickenheiser. Like he thought it was the coolest thing in the world because Wickenheiser was a star in junior hockey. And Colin's going to do a podcast. That's why he called me with another guy. And he just was kind of asking about what to get and this, that, and the other. And I said, man, just stick to the stories. He's got another guy that played with Lindros and Junior. I go, and they both know a lot of people. I'm like, just get to the stories. I go, that's what people want. I said, like drinking with Wickenheiser the night before. He's like, oh, my God, I forgot all about that. That's right. You were with me. I'm like, yes, I was.
Yeah, supposedly the schedule was finalized late afternoon yesterday.
But, I mean, if you don't think there's somebody at ESPN that's getting all the graphics ready today, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Yep, we just said that, Canada Relief, but yes.
I'm sure Berube relieved.
So my buddy's brother-in-law, who coaches the Marlies or whatever, they just upset the 1 seed in the A playoffs.
Oh.
I don't think he has a shot because, one, he's an American. John Gruden's his name. Interesting. But I don't think he has a shot at the Canadian or the Leafs job because he's from Minnesota. I just don't, they're not hiring an American to be their coach. But 2, he's got to get out now. Run. You're having a good playoff run. Get out. Go back to being an assistant.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, and that's when we're done. Kaput. Over the hump officially for the day are Miller and Moulton.
You went kaput there.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, in my family, my mother's family, we didn't say kaput. We added on to it. Kaputski was a word that was regularly used when kaput would normally be used. I don't know if anybody else that's ever used kaputski, but I like it. I'm just saying, it was part of the family vernacular.
Polish side of the family or no?
I mean, no. Although when I did that whole DNA thing, I had more Polish in there than I knew and less French than I knew. But no, Lithuanian. My great-grandmother is actually my great-great-grandmother came from Lithuania because she was alive when I was born. There's a picture with 5 generations. She was 97 when she passed. So there's Lithuanian in me. I mean, that's close. But I don't know where the Kaputski came from.
I don't either. And now I'm going to be on a mission to A, use it 2 or 3 times, and C, if I can get a reaction from people around me and, hey, I'd say that, or, what? So now I'm intrigued now.
We did get a texter. You brought up something early in the show about Skeens, throwing a no-no through 7, striking out the first 6, and 15,000 plus showed up. A texter said, maybe a meet and greet with Livy Dunn on Paul Skeens' pitching night might improve attendance.
Hey, whatever they got to do. I mean, it was 13-5. It's a Tuesday night in Pittsburgh. It's 57 degrees first pitch. Okay, now in Florida, you may go, ooh. In Pittsburgh, they won't even have a jacket on. I mean, honestly, let's just go out in a sweatshirt. And that's only because it's going to get a little colder as the game goes on. They might be hot at the start of the game. Paul Skeens against Colorado?
Well,
for goodness sakes.
Pittsburgh's over 500. I mean, it's Skeens pitching. Hey, even look at David, as much as we knock the Marlins crowds, and they've been historically bad, they've never really drawn. You can go back to when the D train threw, David.
They showed up.
You could go back. I could tell you when he pitched by looking at attendance.
Jose Fernandez.
15,000, 35,000.
Yep. They showed, an extra 6,000 showed up when Jose pitched. 13-5, like you said, they're over 500. Okay. I mean, my goodness. Strikes out the first 6 batters, takes a no-no into the 7th. Throws a 2-hitter for 8 innings with 10 Ks, and there's no one there to see it?
Bigger problem. Pirates fans not showing up for skiing. 76er fans selling their tickets to Knicks fans.
Pirates fans not showing up for skiings. Because I can get, by the way, like I know they're angry at their owner. I get that. I get it. But come on now. They know baseball. And here's the other thing. You don't know how long you're going to have this guy. Okay? Honestly, I would, if I lived in and around Pittsburgh, I'd go to every flipping start I could because, quite frankly, I don't know how long we're going to have him, and I don't know when we're going to get another that looks like him.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1607. English colonists led by John Smith established Jamestown near the James River in Virginia, the first permanent English settlement in North America. Congress votes in favor of President Polk today in 1846 to declare war on Mexico. Churchill became prime minister today and said, "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat." Today in 55, Mantle hit 3 consecutive home runs. They were all at least 463 feet. Stan the Man becomes the 8th to get to 3,000 today in 58. Howard Stern began broadcasting today at WRNW in Briarcliff Manor, New York. Tipper got her you-know-what going today. The PMRC holds a meeting where they got their agenda to put a rating systems on albums and concerts. 1985. I still don't like her. And today in 1991, Yankee fans were good. They were. The fans sing Like a Virgin to Jose Canseco, who was dating Madonna. That's outstanding. It's funny then. It's funny now, David.
And that's 91, right?
Yeah.
And the Yankees are losing then. Okay, there were a couple years there, 90, 91, 92. They didn't start to turn it around till 93/4.
Joe Louis and B. Arthur would have celebrated birthdays today.
Wow.
Harvey Keitel is 87. The pride of Saginaw, Michigan, Stevie Wonder, is 76. So is Bobby Valentine. Dennis Rodman, 65. Stephen Colbert, 62. Darius Rucker is 60. I still think the funniest thing he ever did, he's tight with Dan Patrick, and they were out at the golf tournament in Tahoe, and they got Rucker. They rewrote "Hold My Hand" to "Hold My Ham," and he showed up in the morning, drunk or hungover, probably still drunk, and they got him to sing it, and he realized, man, I make a lot of money singing this song. What am I doing? Still think that's fantastic. Barry Zito, the pitcher, he's 48. PK Subban is 37. And Morgan Whalen is 33. I don't know if he'll throw a chair or have Caitlin Clark out at a concert. Did you see the trouble? Like, people all ticked off that Caitlin Clark walked out at a Morgan Whalen concert. Come on. Yeah, he threw out a racial slur 5 years ago. Yep, he threw a chair off a building a couple years ago in Nashville. I don't know what to tell you. He's a very popular country musician. She may like country music. She went to the concert. Get over it. Not her job to fix that.
Yeah, I think people are way too sensitive today. And quite frankly, they're holding a lot of
quote unquote famous people to standards that are very difficult to. They will cancel anybody over anything.
I just wonder how many of those people that are bitching about Caitlin Clark have seen the movie Michael. I'll end it there.
When you mention Barry Zito, don't take this the wrong way. Let me finish. I think a gold thong, because Derek Jeter was in an 0 for 32 slump, the longest of his career, and his teammate Jason Giambi said, "Wear this gold thong, you'll snap out of it." And first at bat, Jeter goes up and homers off Zito. So when I think Barry Zito, I think Jeter's gold thong.
Did I miss anything else besides the golden thong? Because it was not a very relevant day in history.
No.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
And he hated it. He was self-conscious about it. He thought everybody could see it through his uniform, which they couldn't. Okay, he wanted to get out of it. And, of course, Giambi's going, dude, you just won 8 straight games without a hit. What are you, crazy? You can't take that thing off.
For the good today, we go to Cooper City, Florida, where 3 teens are being hailed as heroes. They noticed a man having trouble changing a tire that had just blown. They were inside of McDonald's having some food. Then they approached the man and they realized something was wrong because he did not look well. Apparently, the man was suffering from a heat stroke or other heat-related issue. They called 911, stayed on the phone with the until first responders arrived. The man was taken to the hospital. He had suffered a heart attack. He is now at home recovering. For the bad, we go to Southeast Pennsylvania, where, well, got a little stinky in Lancaster County. Police called it a hazmat incident, later identified as a large fertilizer spill along the highway.
Traffic with murder, one of those manure spitters jackknifed on the Santa Ana. God awful mess. You should see my shoes.
Several hours later, the road reopened. Finally, the ugly, we go to Lehigh Acres, Florida, where deputies were called to a home around 4 a.m. where Fradley Lamore Jr. was arrested. He had thrown a potted plant through one of the windows. The person who lived in the home went outside and said, "What are you doing?" And he answered, "Wrong house," and took off running. He was arrested, charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly. On today, May the 13th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, great pay, signing bonus, other jobs available. CapeCops.com. That's CapeCops.com.
One basketball game, one hockey game. Cleveland, Detroit, game 5 tonight in Motown. Pistons a 3.5-point favorite, which they were for game 1. They won and covered. For game 2, they won and covered. Cleveland is 0-5 on the road so far in the playoffs between Toronto and Detroit. The Pistons are 5-1 at home, having won 5 in a row after losing game 1 of their series against Orlando. 8 o'clock ESPN. Winner will be up 3-2. Hockey, do the Wild stay alive?
I think they do, David, for what it's worth. I think they force one more.
Interesting. Avs yet to lose at home in the playoffs. They swept the Kings and they won the first 2 at home against Minnesota. So they're 4-0 at home.
I may take both road teams tonight. I may take the Cavs and the Wild.
Ooh, you're feeling it. 8 o'clock TNT for the hockey. 8 o'clock ESPN for the hoop.
I'd run the other way if I were you betting, by the way. I would just go the opposite of what I'm doing.
Everybody's playing in baseball again. 2 of the games are in the afternoon. I know the Yankees and the Orioles are one of them at 1 o'clock. And then Angels and Guardians also at 1 o'clock. I'm looking to see if any of these games are nationally televised, and I don't see it. Cubs and Braves, game 2 of their series. Rays trying for the sweep in Toronto. So there.
I'd bet the Tigers today, too. I would.
Who's pitching?
Valdez.
Okay.
I would bet the Tigers today. I think tomorrow's for the series. I think, Mets got yesterday. I think Detroit gets today. And then one fan base is going to be really honked off losing the series to the other. Because I think for Detroit, it's an important series. We talked before the show. The New York media thinks this is a big series for the Mets because they've got the Yankees next. So I understand both sides saying, man, this is a series. Detroit's playing lousy. You can't take 2 or 3 from the Mets. And the Mets are going, Detroit's playing lousy. You can't take 2 or 3 from the Tigers.
Boy, the Mets have called up. The Mets injury list is huge. I know nobody cares. They just lost their starting catcher last night to add on top of it. But they're calling up their whole top of their farm system, whether these guys are ready or not. Guy they called up yesterday had like 18 at-bats in AAA. That's it. They're like, sorry, we need you. It's a huge gamble. Worked for a night. We'll see if it continues.
PGA gets going tomorrow morning. By the way, who are you picking? We've not made an official pick. We got about a minute left. I got to get you on the record.
Well, I'm picking Cameron Young because I said I would take the big 3 and you would take the field. So I'm taking Cameron Young to win his first major.
All right. If I'm taking the field, I got to make a pick. Of the big 3, I like Cam Young the best. But I'm going to go Oberg. He gets it done on a Sunday, finally.
There you go, because Thursday through Saturday, he's really good.
But Sundays, he has had a problem a couple of times this year. We'll see if, he can get it done. PGA starts tomorrow. NFL schedule's released tomorrow. We'll do this again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton